Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stream. Hello. Hi. Hey, how are we doing? How are we feeling? It's good to be back. It's good to be here on a Thursday. I'm feeling caffeinated. Let me know how for those who don't know, we are trying to save speech here in Canada. That's what I'm focusing all of my content effort on right now and into the future, especially this fall. We're making a documentary, a Save Free Speech documentary about the despicable people behind Bill C-63, because Bill C-63 is really going to be what does it in terms of taking away our free speech, but we can stop it. And we're going to do it by creating informative, entertaining, shareable videos, a lot of which are in production right now, including this documentary. It's givesendgo.com/savefreespeech. It's in the pinned comment, which is awesome. But yeah, everybody, welcome to the stream. So what are we doing this evening? Probably not going to be as long as last time. I went for 4 hours last time. But tonight we're going to be going over, a friend of mine, baby boomer friend. I love my baby boomers. He sent me this video about tyranny, and I thought it'd be cool, interesting review of what is tyranny really? Because it's a word that gets thrown around a lot, and the reason I want to look into that is I kind of might use it as a lens to look at Bill C-63, and that's what we're also going to look at, which is a sort of deeper version of what's actually in the bill. We have a video from the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms. Oh no, sorry. The Canadian Constitution Foundation. Since the COVID, there's been all these different organizations with a bunch of lawyers popping up, but we're going to give a breakdown of that, look through that video, look for the important tidbits that we can turn around into a short video, into a better argument, into a mallet that we can beat over the heads of Canadians to say, hey, wake the fuck up. This is happening, okay? They want to pass this. And there seems to be a suspicious, small amount of people talking about this bill. I brought this up on the last stream, but there's just the demoralization is so heavy that they see something like Bill C-63 and they go in one of two directions. When you're demoralized, you go in one of two directions. You say, there's nothing we can do about it. It's so over. The bill's going to pass no matter what we do. And then interestingly, the demoralized people also go in this direction where they say, that's not going to pass. No way. Therefore, let's not even worry about it or spend, attention looking at it. And it's like, well, what? Are you in denial of everything that's gone wrong in this country, especially recently, when it comes to the internet? With the Online News Act passing. The Online News Act C-18 is it's a great thing to attach to Bill C-63 because it's been objectively a legislative failure, because now you can't even get news on certain platforms in Canada. And even leftist journalists agree with me. Even leftist Globe and Mail, what's his name? And even Andrew Coyne thinks that, C-18 was a failure. And this is the same idea. A bunch of greedy bureaucrats are like, we're going to pass a bill that's going to usurp more control on the Canadian internet. And basically we want a slice of the pie. We want money from big tech. And that was the failure of Bill C-18. And Bill C-63 is very much the same. We want more power. And if the big tech doesn't give it to us, we're going to fine them 6% of their global profits annually, or $10 million or something like this. It's insane. It's insane. These bureaucrats have gone insane. We already know this, but once again, there's so much shit that's going on, whizzing by our faces every day. Indians pooping on the beaches. Indians asking for permanent residency, Indians pretending to burn themselves down in a tent and then blaming it on white people. There's a lot of stuff that is super infuriating and worthy of our attention. But at the same time, this is, this Bill C-63 is happening in the background. It's happening in the background. And all it takes is a couple more readings, and then it gets to the Senate, and then it's law. And then we're fucked. Then our job is hundreds, thousands of times more difficult when our enemies can literally weaponize the justice system against us at the drop of a hat anonymously. Like, you think things are tough now? If you like, reference for anyone who plays Halo, that's going to be like legendary mode. Okay, we're going to be going from like medium to like legendary. Probably more like we're on easy mode in comparison to what that would be like. But yeah, before we get into all of that, I want to stop cheating on the beach, says No Name. Trouser Snake, can we look into how many members of the tribe are behind passing Bill C-63? I don't know what tribe you're referring to. However, I will say, on a completely unrelated note, I think it's CJA promotes this bill. Let's look that. Now, I don't know what tribe you're talking about. However, CJA is the Canadian Jewish Advocacy Group, and they support the Online Harms Bill. Act now. Tell your Jewish Canadians support the Online Harms Act. This is Bill C-63. Yep, Minister of Justice Arif Farani tabled the long-awaited Bill C-63, otherwise known as the Online Harms Act. So again, I don't know what tribe you're talking about. However, that's some interesting information that you might find relevant to your inquiry, possibly. And yeah, the other connection there, to be fair, like this is stuff that is not going to be the tip of the spear when it comes to SaveFreeSpeech.ca, because I want to get I want it to be a big tent thing that many people can get behind. And although it's certainly relevant, like, you know, I'll probably make a short about it of connecting these dots, but like, it's not going to be the major thing that I harp on. I want to just kind of go broad brushstrokes of like, hey, this bill's tyrannical. Hey, this would be the end of free speech in Canada. Can we get on board with this, please? Hello? Hello? Are you guys awake? Hi. Oh yeah, I don't care if you're a liberal blue-haired freak. Like, you should care about this too. Palestine, yeah, they want to throw Palestinian supporters in jail. Like, I'll take that. Hey, get behind us. Let's go. Okay? Because, you know, if you're watching, if you're in chat, you probably know I'm one of these idiots who still thinks there's hope for this country to turn around. Maybe I'm foolish, but, you know, I'd like to think that I still care about this place. But yeah, you know, like, I want to try and save it. I want to try and turn things around. And if this bill passes, it's going to be, oh my God. And, you know, I'll just be a sitting duck. I'll just be a sitting duck for my political enemies. They could just, you know, pick a YouTube video, pick an old stream, pick an old tweet. You could turn that into a hate crime, probably. George K. Greg Wycliffe, a noble soul with a warrior spirit. Thank you so much. I also have bad BO, but I appreciate your, you know, description. Daryl, hey, Daryl, what's your name? Daryl Skird with $10. I have the Bill 63 link pinned on Facebook. One guy commented, fear-mongering bullshit. He's blocked. Unteachably stupid. Yeah. That's a perfect example of what I was just saying of how they're demoralized, right? You're talking about Bill C-63 and someone's like, that's fear-mongering bullshit. No, it's totally real. It's totally real. And I think, you know, maybe you've noticed this. I think the COVID news cycle, I think, made everyone exhausted. Everybody is just exhausted with more information, more corruption, more lawsuits, more unjust this, more unjust that. I've been exhausted from it. Oh my God, it's nonstop. And I think that, like, you know, people across the spectrum, I'm not just talking about right-wing people. I think even leftists, normies, have been exhausted from it too. Because the normies were like looking at, you know, it's probably even worse for the normies because they don't have as much discernment as people who are more thinking critically. Like, they're seeing the line graphs going up and down for COVID and like, oh, I got to get the vaccine, and oh, we got to ban everybody who doesn't have the vaccine. And then it kind of like went away and it's like, oh, I guess we don't need the vaccine anymore. Was that all a lie? I don't know. I'm not going to think about it. You know what? All this disseminating information stuff through the news and then science changing every 5 minutes. It's kind of exhausting. Maybe I will just watch sports ball and Netflix and not even give a shit anymore. Actually, I had a friend talking about this, and people commented about this maybe like a year ago or around when kind of COVID, like the hard part of COVID was sort of wrapping up, like maybe a year and a half ago. That sure, there's people radicalizing on the left and the right, but it's almost like the center is radicalizing too, to be like radically apolitical, radically like anti, like I really don't even care, like I really don't care. You thought I didn't care before? Like I really don't care, because I guess they were just exposed to like how toxic it is, how it's a lot of like mental and emotional work to sift through the bullshit of trying to truly like follow politics beyond the headline, right? But yeah, anyway, thanks for the $10, Daryl. Hey, good job trying to get the word out there, and good for you for not trying to argue with idiots. I have a deep philosophy on that, that's not that deep. But actually, it changes. Like sometimes I do like to engage with people who disagree with me. And because sometimes it's a good like prompt for writing. Sometimes it's like, wow, this person is so dumb, and like, what if I just kind of said this to them? How would they respond to that? I'm not necessarily trying to convince them, but I almost want to like, poke at something and see what kind of reaction I might get, because sometimes the reactions are gold, or you see how their brain works or doesn't work. But if I'm not trying to do that, it's like, okay, can I ridicule and humiliate this person and it be funny? Can I make a really dismissive, borderline, like disrespectful comment that will just irritate them and like have me live inside their brain? If it's not one of those two things, then I move on. I'm not genuinely trying to convince anyone. I either poke at them to see what kind of reaction I'll get. I try to quickly ridicule and humiliate them with a meme or a short, like very short, like one-liner zinger. Or number 3, I just say something completely like dismissive and kind of rude to just like, to get them all like upset. And that's it. Then I move on. Keep your energy, folks. Keep your energy. And when I do those things, especially the later two of like humiliating or like trying to irritate them, it gives me energy. Yeah, I become the energy vampire, right? Because then they're like, and then they're replying, and it's like, oh yes, give me that energy. Now I am the energy vampire. Yes, look at this long wall of text you sent me. I'm not even going to read it, because you're, like you said, unteachably stupid. You're beyond saving. Oh, whoops. All right, I got to change the pinned comment. Thanks for that heads up, Edgy D. Remove that. Let's do that now. But yeah, we got some good stuff planned for tonight. I got interrupted. I went off on a tangent. So we're going to go over number 1. We're going to do a quick review of Tyranny. We're going to do a review of what's actually in Bill C-63, go a bit deeper on that. And then I'm going to introduce a song. Wrote a version of it last night. Feeling pretty good about it. I don't know if it's necessarily finished, but a version of it is finished, and it's called Fuck Trudeau. It might not be what you think it is, though. And like, don't get your hopes up. It's not super hilarious or anything. It's just, it's a song that I feel is ready to share at least with you guys in the live stream. The OGs, the true homies. All right, let's get this pinned comment going. What would I do without Edgy D in chat, for real? Do 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 do. All right. Boom, 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 and then boom, boom. Wow, there you go. It works. Wow, technology, guys. We did it. The pinned comment goes to givesendgo.com/SaveFreeSpeech. We've already raised $2,683. Special thanks to everyone who has donated. Really appreciate it. Chris S. yesterday with $100. Stop Bill C-63 and protect our freedom. Thanks for doing this, Reagan. Hopefully you get the support you need. Totally agree. There is a lot more coming on this front. Want to break down like the documentary budget just to show everybody And also, yeah, there's a lot that we're going to be doing there to improve. Lots to do. This will hopefully look much better and much different by the time September rolls around. That is the goal. That's the goal. Okay. All right. Sweet. Awesome. Craig Bragg said he just donated. Oh my God. Look at this legend. Look at this legend. Craig Bragg, $100 Canadian. Thank you so much, sir. Saving free speech in Canada. This is the best. Man, this is great. Oh my God. And another one from Ryan Albright, $350. Guys, this is it. This is it. We can do this. We can do this. We just cracked $3,000. Look at that. Look at that. I'm feeling so energetic right now. This is amazing. Build it and they will come. This is awesome though, because there's an appetite for this stuff. It's going to resonate with people. It's going to resonate with people. We have professionals. We have editors. Really handsome Chad editors that are constantly mewing. So we love that. Fantastic. Good stuff. This is the beginning. Who's raising the alarm bells about this? I talked about this last stream, but you know, Bill C-11, which was the one, it used to be called Bill C-10, and that one like gives a bunch of power to the Canadian government to control algorithms. So it's kind of like the Algorithm Act. And then Bill C-18, the Online News Act. Each time, the Conservative Party, Pierre Poilievre, Rebel News, True North, within like the final week or maybe 2 weeks before the bill actually comes into law, then they show up and being like, oh, we got to stop this bill. We got to stop this. Oh my God, the Liberals, Trudeau bad. And then it's too late. It's too late. You waited too long. You knew about this bill like months and months, sometimes a year ago. And then you're just showing up right before it passes. It's almost like they don't actually care to stop the bill. And this is especially true with Bill C-63, I think, because, you know, I would love to get, this might cause people some physical pain. I would love to get Pierre Poilievre, you know, supporting SaveFreeSpeech.ca and actually wanting to stop this bill. But it's actually, if he wants to get voted in as prime minister, it's in his best interest to let this bill slip by the goalie. Okay? Because then if it does, well, Trudeau is a tyrant and that's why you have to vote for me, because I'll repeal that bill, let me tell you. How about we just stop the bill from passing? How about that? Crazy idea. I just had this crazy idea. How about we just stop the bill from passing? I know that's insane to think about. But, all right, let's get into it. Let's get into the content, shall we? Let's get into the... Oh, I have a surprise, actually. I have a surprise. This is your average person that Pierre Poilievre tries to pander to, by the way, with his politics. This is who he's trying to pander to. Have you seen this man's videos? Alex Woods. At Alex Woods Z. Okay? These videos have AI voices. They're incredibly well written. And he messaged me the other day. He's like, hey, check this out. Watch this. My new one, You're One of My Puppets. So I guess I might be an AI voice in here or something. But I haven't seen this one yet. I haven't watched it all the way through. So I thought this is a perfect thing to react to on stream. So we're actually going to start off with something funny. All right, let's get into it. Oh, hold on. Feeble Clone says, I did a fairly detailed breakdown of the bill C-63. It claims some differences are vital to existence. It claims some differences are vital to existence, but must be treated as if they don't exist. I don't know what you mean by that, Feeble Clone. Do you have like a Twitter or something where that's available? Is it like, is the breakdown of the bill a video, or like, you know, what are you talking about? Yeah. All right. Let's get into this, this AI madness from Alex Woods. Where do I put my face? Is that better? Is that good? Yeah, I'll put it down there. All right, let's go. Who wants to be an offensive millionaire?
Tonight, our contestant is Robert Brookstein. He's from Lancashire. He is a plumber and he's been unblocking toilets for 35 years. He came with his loving father, James, who used to hit him with a metal belt every day when he was a child, until they made peace last week. James made it clear to his son that if he didn't win the million tonight, he'd probably start beating him again. What a wonderful family. But we've wasted enough time on stories that interest no one. While Robert is busy remembering his traumas, I'll explain the rules of the game for our viewers. There's rule number 1, rule number 2, and of course the very important rule number 3. And now let's play Who Wants to Be an Offensive Millionaire.
Let's go.
And now that Robert has finished crying, let's move on to the first question. It goes like this. The very simple question, how many Jews died during the Holocaust?
What?
C. Kill and eat.
No, wrong. The answer was tribe and train.
What an idiot.
You leave with nothing. Now get the fuck out of my studio.
Okay.
Amazing. Hey. Wow. Wow. Bravo to Alex Woods, ladies and gentlemen. Give him a round of applause. Alex Woods. Wow. A masterpiece. Follow him on Twitter at Alex Woods, S, and then a Z at the end. And if you watch this, Alex, try to clean up the caption on the video. I know you put all the ats in the actual video. If I were you, I would just put a simple caption that's like, just keep it, who wants to be an offensive millionaire? And like, if you keep a simple caption like that, people are more likely to like, oh, what is this? Because I just feel when there's a bunch of like spammed blue text and hashtags and ats, people are less likely to like just look at the video, where you can just, you know, post it with just a short caption of who wants to be an offensive millionaire. And then in the replies, like you replied to your own thing. God. But yeah, just in the replies, put all the ats there. Because typically, you know, especially if it's a Diagolon person, we will take the time to see like what you replied to. I just find in my experience of posting videos on Twitter, usually a nice clean caption helps the video go more viral and get more eyeballs. But hey, follow this man. Very, very funny stuff. Very funny stuff. And without a doubt, we'd all be going to jail if Bill C-63 passes and we were to share that video or talk about that video or even if you like it, even if you like the video, that might be enough to get you thrown in jail. Okay? It's unfortunate, but that's just the country we live in. And as always, if you do want to help Save Free Speech in Canada, there's a pinned comment. We are making a documentary exposing the people and really the philosophy and what this what Bill C-63 is really about. You can go to givesendgo.com/savefreespeech. Yeah, we got another donation from Donna M with $50. Go Greg. Thank you so much, Donna M. We also had Craig Bragg earlier with $100 and Ryan Albright with 350 bones going towards saving free speech in Canada, stopping Bill C-63. You love to see it. You love to see it. How are we doing in chat? I have, you know, I feel honored, by the way. That was the first time I've had like AI done like with me as the AI character. Well done. Funny, also really creeped out right now. Very creeped out. I think especially with the fact that I had like the phone effect on it. It's like lower resolution, so it's like it sounds like it's a lot more believable. Because like if it's a more high quality voice, you can like sense how maybe it's not perfect. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Edgy D posted the link to the video in chat, I think, or to Alex's Twitter. Definitely check him out. He has a website. I don't think it's working. Oh, it is working. Yeah, I'll plug his website too. Alex Woods. Oh, it's with a SZ. So www.com/alexwoodsz.com. Just a link to his socials by the looks of it. Oh, he's got a Patreon too. Ooh, and a Bitcoin and a Rumble and a Telegram. Ooh, I don't think I have him on Telegram. Do I? I'll have to do that. Awesome. All right. Okay. Let's get into tyranny. Let us get into tyranny. Are you ready? Are you excited? Are you excited for tyranny? Hopefully this video isn't too dry, but the reason I want to talk about it, or kind of like bring up, because part of the stream is kind of to do some of the work, some of the mind work of what's the best way to do the messaging for Save Free Speech? What's the best way to really get people excited, or at least alarmed and concerned about this bill, and like what's the best language to use? And I'm playing with the word tyranny, maybe tyranny, because like I've been like, oh, it's an internet censorship bill. It's like, well, maybe it's more of a tyrannical bill. Maybe it's more of an authoritative rule bill. Because that type of like bumper sticker branding could really be dynamite for us as we try to campaign to save free speech here. But anyway, we're gonna watch this video, "The Timeless Truth About Tyranny According to Aristotle." It's probably not going to be as funny as the video we just watched, but we're going to watch it anyway, folks. Let's go.
Imagine a government that fears its own people, a system where...
Whoa. Times 2 speed? That's a little too quick.
Imagine a government that fears its own people, a system where open debate is seen as a threat, where gatherings are suspicious, and where wealth is deliberately drained from the masses. Sounds familiar? This isn't just a description of any modern authoritarian state. This is tyranny as Aristotle described it over 2,300 years ago. And he wasn't just theorizing about tyranny. He had personal experience with tyrants from multiple angles. As a young man in Athens, he witnessed the aftermath of the rule of the 30 tyrants. And later in life, Aristotle had a close relationship with Hermias, who was the tyrant of Atarneus. Combined with his studies, these personal exposures to tyranny provided Aristotle with a keen insight into the nature of tyrannical rule. They provided him with a nuanced understanding of how tyranny affects both societies and individuals, and how philosophical principles can stand in opposition to tyrannical power. For Aristotle, tyranny wasn't just about cruel dictators. It was an entire system of governance, an institution designed to perpetuate unjust rule. And understanding it might be just as relevant today as it was back then.
That's interesting. It's not just a crazy tyrant ruling. It's actually, there's a whole system below the tyrant. Or it can just be a system, an authoritative system. Because it's true. A lot of people get the idea like, oh, there's just some tyrant and that's what tyranny is. But it's like, it's a system of governance. There's a lot more nuance. There's a lot more kind of operating there. Yeah.
But why should we care about an ancient Greek philosopher's thoughts on government? Because Aristotle's insights provide a framework for understanding political systems that goes far beyond his time. His analysis helps us recognize both the subtle and the not-so-subtle ways in which power can be misused, even in societies that claim to be free. Aristotle's...
That's a crazy image. Who's the artist there? That's nuts. I love that.
Analysis helps us make sense of political...
We're going to speed this up a little bit. We're going to go to 1.25.
...phenomena, so we can see it in our own rulers. So let's start our journey into the mind of one of history's greatest political thinkers and see what light he can shed on the dark corners of tyrannical rule. Aristotle's concept of tyranny is far more nuanced than our modern notion of oppressive rule. As mentioned, he presents it as a distinct political institution with specific characteristics. In his monumental work, Politics, he dissects tyranny itself. He shows us how it's different from other forms of government, including those with a single ruler. A king and a tyrant might both hold absolute power, but for Aristotle, the distinction lies in how that power is used and for what purpose. At its foundation, Aristotle defines tyranny as a system of governance that exists for the benefit of the rulers rather than the governed. It exists for the benefit of the rulers rather than the governed.
Okay. That's certainly what's happening in Canada. We have a system of governance that serves the people in power. It serves the foreign special interests. It serves the lobbyists. It serves the public servants themselves and their friends. So through that lens, we're already under tyranny. But that's a decent.
As a system of governance that exists for the benefit of the rulers.
Sorry, I'm just going to take some notes here. Excuse me, I'm going to take some notes here. I'm going to actually slow it back down.
Lies in how that power is used and for what purpose. At its foundation, Aristotle defines tyranny as a system of governance that exists for the benefit of the rulers rather than the governed. But what does this mean in practice? Tyranny, in Aristotle's view, is a corruption of legitimate forms of government. It combines all the bad elements of both oligarchy and democracy, taking the concentration of wealth from the former and the disregard for law and tradition from the latter. Interestingly, Aristotle notes that tyrants are often chosen from the meanest group of people. This suggests that tyranny isn't simply imposed from above, but can arise from within the population, especially in times of social upheaval. The result is a society where law becomes subservient to the ruler's will, state resources are used for personal gain rather than public good, and traditional checks on power are disrespected and eliminated.
This is interesting. Mean as in low status. I feel like what's happening right now is you have like the bullied blue hair freaks who are they're getting their positions of power and then they're basically wielding it against attractive white straight men, right? Who bullied them in high school. Like that's certainly sort of a trend, I think, in terms of what we're experiencing now of like who the tyrants are. There's a lot of mean-spirited, rainbow freaks who are. They're mean. They're mean. I don't want to try to like, oh, they're a villain and they're awful. I don't want to like make it seem like I'm afraid of these people, but it's more like, let's not. These purple-haired freaks are like mean-spirited, vile people. I'm not afraid of them, but it's also like they've become these sort of like monsters because now they have so much institutional power broadly. But anyway.
To the ruler's will, state resources are used for personal gain rather than public good, and traditional checks on power are disrespected and eliminated. This stands in contrast to Aristotle's conception of a true king. While both a tyrant and a king might wield absolute power, the key distinction lies in the purpose of their rule. A tyrant governs for personal gain. A king respects the law and traditions and rules for the welfare of the community. Crucially, if the people no longer want the king's rule, a true king will willingly abdicate, something unthinkable for a tyrant. Aristotle argues that this situation makes tyranny inherently unstable. When a government systematically prioritizes the interests of its rulers and their friends over the populace, it generates widespread discontent. In essence, Aristotle sees tyranny not just as bad leadership, but as a fundamental perversion of government's purpose. It's an institution that inverts the very reason for political community, using the state as a tool for the advantage of the few rather than the welfare of all. But how does such a system come to be?
Interesting. So yeah, what I took away from that is basically tyrants govern for personal gain. A king still cares about the people. And like what's missing here is honor. A king has honor. He honors his people. He loves the people he's ruling. Therefore, he's going to make them a priority, at least to some degree, beyond, being a king eating grapes and having a harem or whatever. I don't know. But like at least there's some sort of priority on honoring their people and loving their people, whereas a tyrant, they just love their power. And it's like that concept almost feels foreign, doesn't it? The concept that the person ruling would have honor for their people. Like look around anywhere, especially in the Western world, like you can't find any leader that is showing any any concrete evidence of actually loving and caring for their people. Like where do you even see that? You only see that in the far right parties. And I guess you could probably argue that the leftists almost try to make a monopoly on caring about people, right? It's just always foreign people, gay people, marginalized people. Like they have their whole like empathy party about that. But And that's actually a big problem. This is kind of like a left-right dichotomy thing, but part of the problem with neocons is they don't prioritize people. The fake conservatives always prioritize money. Constantly. They're always prioritizing money. And it's only through this some like weird adjacent thing do they say that they truly care about people. And constantly the people who support these neocons are like, oh, it's pragmatic. It's pragmatic to do this. Really, it's pragmatic to not prioritize like social issues and people and just let the left have the monopoly on that. That's why you keep losing. That's why you keep losing. Because you're letting the left have the monopoly on like claiming that they care about people and making these like moral arguments about how they actually care about people. And that's why the right keeps losing, because they're not tapping into that for their own people. They're afraid to do that because that would be racist, right? Caring about your people, that we're going to spin that as racist or sexist or whatever. And, you know, maybe a lot of you guys already know this, but, you know, this is part of the exercise that we're doing today. So I apologize if this is like, okay, Greg, Jan, we get it. But I'm just going to check chat here to see if anybody's saying anything interesting. I don't think we should pay for 38 armed guards for Trudeau 24/7. He's not that important or special. No, he's not. And it's funny that he needs that many guards. That's how little faith he has in the people that he lords over. Liam Hogan, Greg, I think people need to be informed about how 63 is you might commit a crime because you said XYZ in the past. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, no, we're going to get into that. I just kind of wanted to look at this lens of tyranny first to see if there's anything helpful in here, like worth jotting down. Because although, you know, maybe it's kind of a more boring video on tyranny, it's like, you know what, there might be one little tidbit that's actually really a good jumping off point for normies to kind of get on board or get it. Let's get back to it. I'm going to come back to that point later, though. The not posthumously, but like retroactively charging someone for a crime. It's crazy. Absolutely.
Aristotle's analysis goes beyond the cliché of a foreign conqueror or a king's son who becomes tyrannical. While that is sometimes the case, tyranny is rarely caused by conquest. According to Aristotle, tyranny often emerges from within existing political systems, particularly democracies and oligarchies. The path to tyranny, he argues, is paved with popular support and clever manipulation of societal divisions.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like Trudeau. And that's another thing. Populism is a word that gets thrown around a lot. And very similar to what I was saying earlier, the left has like used this word to like only mean right-wing people who are populists. But if you look at the definition of populist, the left does it arguably even better. Like the Jagmeet Singh is a huge populist. But, you know, he doesn't get vilified because he's left-wing. But populism often entails presenting the people as the underdog. Populists typically seek to reveal to the people how they are oppressed. That's exactly what Jagmeet Singh does. This is exactly what Trudeau does as well. Us Canadians, you know, he always makes it seem like we're the underdog. He's a pro at that. He's a total pro at that, honestly. Hate his guts, but he's a total pro at that. And once again, neocons don't tap into populism. They just tap into, we're going to save you money.
In democracies, Aristotle observes that tyrants often start as demagogues, charismatic leaders who gain popularity by championing the cause of the common people against the elite. They promise to address social inequalities and redistribute wealth.
Because it's 2015.
Let's look at a historical example, Pisistratus in Athens. Pisistratus rose to power in the 6th century BC by positioning himself as a champion of the common people. He famously staged an attack on himself to gain public sympathy and a significant personal security force, which he then used to seize the Acropolis.
That is so interesting, because what I feel like people in the right wing, like in our bubble sometimes, who look into politics, they think that like everything is new. Like they feel like subversion is new, or you know, manipulation and lying and false flags are new, or like this tactic of winning an election or like smearing your opponents is, oh, it's this new. No, it's as old as time. It's as old as life itself. It's as old as like politics. If there's a power struggle, there's politics. And if there's somebody who's trying to usurp more power, they're going to do a false flag on themselves. You know, like even back in Rome, there was false flags to push forth and get power. So like a lot of this, like all of this stuff is nothing new.
Twice being overthrown, Pisistratus regained power each time through a combination of popular support and strategic alliances, eventually establishing a tyranny that lasted until his death. In oligarchies, tyranny can arise when one member of the ruling elite outmaneuvers the others, consolidating power for themselves. This might happen through political scheming, election fraud, or by appealing to the disenfranchised masses for support against their fellow oligarchs.
That's a crazy, look how crazy this AI image is. It's like a stone but electronic voting system, Dominion voting system. Crazy.
Aristotle notes that times of social and economic upheaval are particularly ripe for the emergence of tyrants. When there's widespread discontent with the current system, people become more willing to support radical changes, even at the cost of their political freedoms. In other words, the rise of a tyrant isn't just about one person's ambition. It's a symptom of deeper institutional and societal issues, including political dysfunction, economic disparities, and the failure of existing systems to meet the needs of the populace.
That's a decent talking point. That could be a decent like intro to a short of saying something like, as you know, as the economic situation and social situation worsens in Canada, that when economic situations worsen in a country, it's ripe for tyranny. That is when tyranny happens. And in Canada, they're trying to throughout all the chaos, they're trying to pass this bill C-63. That's a good like kind of like hook, because it takes something that people are experiencing. Hey, like, oh my God, like the cost of this, the cost of that, the kind of you know, all the weird like social divisions. Like that's not bad. That's decent.
Aristotle's study of tyranny revealed a consistent set of methods that tyrants use to keep their power. His observations give us insight into how tyranny worked in ancient times and, surprisingly, how it might look even today. Let's break down these tactics. Aristotle noticed that tyrants often start by going after the rich and influential in society. By getting rid of prominent citizens, either through exile or worse, and taking away their wealth, tyrants eliminate potential rivals. He meant
Interesting. Where have we seen that? Trucker convoy, even before that, lockdowns, destroying small to medium-sized businesses, making it so impossible for them to compete with large oligarch companies or just large big box stores. I think it was hundreds of thousands of small businesses perished in just Toronto alone during lockdowns. And then after that, basically everyone who resisted, remember Adamson Barbecue? We got pastors being fined hundreds of thousands of dollars. Obviously, the, you know, freedom fighters or the dissidents who stood up and opposed the ruling regime during COVID, pretty well all of them had to pay dearly. They tried to throw them in jail. They were successful in some cases, and all of those people. That would be very interesting, actually, to add up, because obviously, if you don't know, Jeremy Mackenzie, I think easily over $250,000, could have been more. Probably was more. But if you add that up with like every other sort of dissident who's had to deal with like the financial burden of having to defend themselves in court, probably millions and millions and millions and millions. And we're told on CBC, well, it's because these are the bad people. These are the bad people. It's like, no, these are the people who are humiliating those in power. And it's tough because, talk about a strong disincentivize, not incentive, but like disincentive to keep speaking out against the government, right? Having to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars, having to deal with legal bullshit, having to deal with the social ostracization, being socially exiled, right? And that just happened for like unvaccinated people in general, or people who are speaking out. There's a lot of groundwork for this already in Canada. So I'm sure you guys know this, but it's kind of fun to kind of do this more like, actually tyranny is actually happening in Canada, if you didn't know. I actually watched a video on it. I actually watched a video all about it. I don't know. I'm enjoying this. Squae, SQAE. Revenue Canada is still taking control of the accounts of restaurateurs who can't pay Revenue Canada. They're taking control of the accounts? They are hundreds of thousands in debt and are under so much stress. This is a, man, not having like a real journalism, like news industry in Canada is just so detrimental to us, because like there's so many insane stories that you just don't hear about and nobody is taking the time to report on, because it is a lot of time to report on it. Like, you know, shout outs to Media Berzagan, what's his name, Mocha, I forget, I don't know how to say his last name. Berzagan. He's doing a ton of investigation into Sikh extremism, Khalistani extremism, how it's like connected to multiple sitting parliamentarians and mayors and stuff like this. He's doing a great job on it, and it's like this should totally just be retweeted or amplified by Globe and Mail, but it's like that's not in their interests, because these are some of the friends of the tyrants, right?
Mentions how Periander of Corinth took away the property of the nobles. This tactic serves multiple purposes. It removes alternative leaders, weakens traditional power structures, often fills the tyrant's own pockets, and...
Sorry, I'm just going to listen to this again, one sec.
...rivals. He mentions how Periander of Corinth took away the property of the nobles. This tactic serves multiple purposes. It removes alternative leaders, weakens traditional power structures, often fills the tyrant's own pockets, and can gain support from common people by painting the tyrant as a champion against rich oppressors. But tyrants don't stop there. Aristotle observed that they also actively work to keep the general population poor. It is a device of tyranny to make the subjects poor, he writes. This isn't just cruel, it's strategic. People struggling to make ends meet don't have the time or resources to oppose the government. They're too focused on daily survival. And tyrants often start huge building projects too, like the pyramids in Egypt. While they might seem impressive, Aristotle saw their true purpose, draining people of resources while keeping them busy, making everyone dependent on the state. Tyrants also encourage people to inform on each other, even reward...
I mean, it goes without saying, but that's... People are getting hosed like nothing in this country with taxes, to the point like if people can, they're just like leaving the country, because if they're making a decent amount of money, it's like, why the fuck would I just get drained by this fucking corrupt government?
Rewarding those who report on their neighbors.
Whoa, look at this Chad meeting. Look at these three Chads. What are they talking about? Probably Diagolonians by the look of it. Look at them. Interesting. Nice jawline. Wow.
Even rewarding those who report on their neighbors. This breeds a climate. Parents also encourage people to inform on each other, even rewarding those who report on their neighbors. This breeds a climate of suspicion where no one knows whom to trust. As Aristotle writes, for a tyranny is not destroyed until some men come to trust each other. Instead of allowing free discussion and learning, tyrants promote their own narratives. They control...
All right. This stuff is obvious, but it's still worth writing down, guys.
Even rewarding those who report on their neighbors. This breeds a climate of suspicion where no one knows whom to trust. As Aristotle writes, for a tyranny is not destroyed until some men come to trust each other. Instead of allowing free discussion and learning, tyrants promote their own narratives. They control what information is available to the public, shaping what people know and think. This approach prevents people from developing the critical thinking skills and knowledge that might lead them to question the tyrant's rule.
We need to stop misinformation. No more misinformation in Canada. Just listen to the CBC. You can trust them. Yes, we funded them since, we funded all news media since 2018, including the CBC. But that's the good information, okay? That's the good information. Just don't listen to this other misinformation. That's bad. That's the bad narrative. That's not the good stuff. Not the good stuff. Not the good stuff. We have the good stuff because it makes us look good.
He also noted that tyrants often prefer foreign soldiers and administrators over their own people.
I've never wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. He whoops. Went full screen there for a sec. That's See, this is why we do this. I did not know, because that could be a great video. Did you know that Aristotle said that tyrants prefer hiring foreign soldiers and foreigners over their own people? Interesting. How is that relevant? How much time do you got? I could list a whole bunch of related issues happening here in Canada. Tyrants like foreign soldiers over their own people. Damn. That's a good one. That's a good gold nugget there. That's a good gold nugget there. What do you guys think? Think that's a good gold nugget? Damn. See, that's an example, because a lot of the stuff I've kind of heard before, but that one I've not heard before. I did not know that was a thing, a characteristic of tyranny.
It is a mark of a tyrant to have men of foreign extraction rather than citizens as guests at table and companions, feeling that citizens are hostile, but strangers make no claim against him, Aristotle writes. He then talks about how foreigners are more willing to act against the local population if ordered to. Constant surveillance was another tactic Aristotle observed. The tyrant should know what every man is saying or doing, he writes. In his time, this meant networks of spies and informants, such as the provocatrices of Syracuse. The goal is to make people feel they're always being watched, leading them to censor themselves out of fear and to catch those who speak their mind. Also, tyrants often invent or exaggerate.
I mean, this is just so textbook. It's just kind of funny to hear it out loud. It's funny that it's like, oh, that's what's happening in this country. You know, that's exactly what's happening in this country. I got a phone call in here. I'm just gonna play a little bit of this and answer this.
Destroyed until some men come to trust each other. Instead of allowing free discussion and learning, tyrants promote their own narratives. They control what information is available to the public, shaping what people know and think. This approach prevents people from developing the critical thinking skills and knowledge that might lead them to question the tyrant's rule. He also noted that tyrants often prefer foreign soldiers and administrators over their own people. It is a mark of a tyrant to have men of foreign extraction rather than citizens as guests at table and companions, feeling that citizens are hostile, but strangers make no claim against him, Aristotle writes. He then talks about how foreigners are more willing to act against the local population if ordered to. Constant surveillance was another tactic Aristotle observed. The tyrant should know what every man is saying or doing, he writes. In his time, this meant networks of spies and informants, such as the provocatrices of Syracuse. The goal is to make people feel they're always being watched, leading them to censor themselves out of fear and to catch those who speak. The goal is to make people, he writes. In his time, this meant networks of spies and informants, such as the provocatrices of Syracuse. The goal is to make people feel they're always being watched, leading them to censor themselves out of fear and to catch those who speak their mind. Also, tyrants often invent or exaggerate external threats.
What was that word? Provocac. Let's see if we can see it is it in the captions? Something of Syracuse.
To themselves out of fear and to catch those who speak their mind. Also, always being watched, leading them to censor. This meant networks of spies and informants, such as the provocatrices of Syracuse.
Okay, captions didn't catch that. Provocatrices of Syracuse. Anybody heard of this? I'm just Googling. I'm finding Syracuse, New York. Okay, what is... Not getting much here. Woman spies Aristotle? What? Women? Nothing's even opening. Huh. I'm trying to see if there's anything here. Okay. To be uninformed. This is what I was able to find. And all the other similar devices of Persian and barbarian tyranny for all have the same effect, and to try not to be uninformed about any chance utterances or actions of any of the subjects, but to have spies like the women called provocatrices at Syracuse, and the sharp ears that used to be sent out by Hero wherever there was any gathering or conference. For when men are afraid of spies of this sort, they keep a check on their tongues, and if they do not speak freely, are less likely not to be found out. Yeah. You know what? That reminds me of a conversation I was having today, actually, with somebody. There's somebody who is on Instagram. They kind of have a big following, but they're not public about their politics. And they're on other platforms too, but and they're like, hey, I love your stuff. Like, I wish I could speak out about this. There's a lot of people like this. And I explained, yeah, no, I get it. When I first ran for the PPC, there was somebody who was like, hey, I get a lot of funding, like indirectly through the liberal arts. So like, I can't really come out as a PPC person, or else I'll get it'll really mess up my income. And so they're like, I can't publicly associate with the PPC or, with these politics. But the person I was talking to basically said, yeah, I definitely would like to speak up, but it's almost like it's so hard. And it's almost like we're past that point where it could she basically talked about how far gone we are in Canada in terms of how detrimental it can be just to question the narrative, which really sucks because, a lot of politics that I think a lot of people miss is it comes down to incentive. It comes down to, human nature and incentive. And it's if you are making money to feed your family or take care of yourself with this money, this income, this comfort, and it's speaking up will create such a massive risk for you of losing that income, of not being able to take care of your family. That's insane. That's insane. We might have a guest pop on for a quick chat, potentially. Quick chat, not too long, because there's a lot of stuff we're gonna get through, but we're gonna keep going here. Is it feminine form of provocateur? Maybe. I'm not sure, Daryl. Provonatrix. Likely why women weren't socially accepted in bars at one time. It was a place where men were able to speak, man talk freely. They sound fully vexed. Great show, Greg. Thanks, Thick Beaver. Well, that's quite the name. That's quite the screen name. They would have often acted as prostitutes or entertainers to get closer to male targets. Money is nothing without freedom. What don't they get? I mean, yeah. I mean, it's tough. It's tough. I would love for everyone, it would be cool if everyone could just do it at the same time. Because that's actually what happened in some cases during COVID. If you have an office of people, and let's say there's 150 people in the office, and 80 of them who are all anti-vax and are like, I believe in bodily autonomy, I don't want to do this. If all of them got together and were like, okay, we're going to do a coordinated stand-up fuck you and not take the vax, because this happened, and 80 people stand up all at once, then that stops the kind of policy within the office from going forth. But like if it's a whole bunch of like isolated individuals, maybe these 80 individuals didn't know that they were all next to each other. That's super tough. It's super tough to do that. And like on a broader scale, it's like, you know, and as this video was saying, it's like people feel isolated. People feel like they're being surveilled. They're what did it say? What was the word they used? They're paranoid. They're skeptical of everybody else. Suspicious. They're suspicious of everybody else. That's a powerful thing, and that's obviously only getting worse. All right, we're gonna try something here. We're gonna try to get somebody on the line here. Let's see how this works. Let's see if this works. Hello, Jeremy. You're live on air.
Oh, crap.
How's it going, man?
Who is this?
This is Finkel Goldstein. How are you? I was wondering if you needed to take out a bank loan.
I invested in your studio and I haven't even gotten any child porn yet.
Oh God. Okay, let's try not to ban my YouTube channel in the first 30 seconds, okay? Please.
But that's what I do best.
Very true. Very true. But yeah, we're on the stream. We're saving money. We're trying to raise money to save free speech in Canada. We were watching a video about tyranny. Have you heard of this? Have you heard of tyranny? Have you heard of this? Is this familiar?
The TYR or something? I've heard that.
Something
word, yeah.
like that. Yeah. I mean, there's all these crazy right-wing conspiracy theorists who are like, the government will try to throw you in jail if you have the wrong opinion. Can you believe that?
It's just a Nazi conspiracy theory. You know, the government's always good. The good guys always win. And that's why they're in charge, because they're the best.
Absolutely. It's that simple.
Not because they killed their way up there.
No, not at all.
It's not a throne of skulls and blood or anything.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I was actually watching a clip from someone's podcast, and they had a couple of Indian guys. It was actually Clyde Do Something. Don't ask me why I was over here, but I was watching. I was interested because he's talking.
We all got a slum sometimes.
He was on a podcast with two like older Indian men, and they're both one of them's like freaking out about the Khalistan movement, Khalistani, and he's like, man, these people are extremists. Like they're recognized as terrorists in India, but they're not recognized as terrorists here. You know, and it was kind of funny to watch Clyde kind of be like, oh shit, like that's crazy.
Yeah.
But
it's going to be very funny to watch. These people have all taken the enemy side, and they're going to go team multi-culti and just go down with the ship. It's only going to get harder and harder to defend their positions. It's going to become more and more obvious how wrong they are and how bad it is. They're just going to, the copes are going to get outrageous.
Well, yeah,
until they go crazy. They'll all go crazy.
The one cope from this Indian man was like, "This isn't an Indian problem. This is a Canadian problem. A Canadian problem. This isn't happening anywhere else." And it's like, well, hold on. What's the background of every single Khalistani person in Canada, though? To say it's like a Canadian problem, you know what I mean? Like the way he was characterizing it as a Canadian problem, it's like, huh? Yeah, all the Canadians started the Khalistani movement. What?
Well, this always comes back to what is a Canadian?
Of course.
What is an Indian? What is a So the whole Sikhism thing only started a few hundred years ago. It's pretty new. And they're just other Indian guys with costumes on. It's just a cult. No, it's a beautiful religion. No, it's stupid. They have like 10 different gods or something. They're monkey people and rat temples, and the whole thing is just I don't care. I'm Canadian. It doesn't interest me. It doesn't belong here. You know, I'm not any more interested in that than I am like, well, what are the Tibetan monks practicing? I don't care. I don't care. It's nothing to do with me. And they're Indians, and they go, I'm not Indian. I'm Sikh. You're the same thing. If we started wearing, Star Wars costumes and said, no, I'm not Canadian. I'm something else now. I'm this thing I just invented. And okay, you're completely different people. You're not just fighting over costumes or anything.
Yeah.
Fighting over magic book theory. That's always what I like. That makes people special. if they have a magic, listen, I have magic books that make me special and better than you. I'm allowed to do these things, and I have to impose these things, and I need to carry a sword in public, and I need to do all this because I invented a crazy cult a while ago, and therefore blah, 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 blah. And people, why do we do what they say? Well, they blow up airplanes and stab people and shoot people, and they're terrorists. So, I mean, that has an effect on people being unwilling to confront them, certainly. We've gotten hundreds of death threats just in the last couple of weeks.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Diagolon crew. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they didn't like that. We didn't like their monkey statue. We went to Brampton and looked at it, and it just smelled bad. The whole thing was very off-putting and weird.
I
didn't like that.
I was watching. Did I watch that on stream, man? I gotta go rewatch that. I was watching a clip from the Canadian Race Relations Foundation, and I was explaining to the stream. It's like this is a bunch of like victim porn of people like crying about internet comments, and this like Chinese woman was literally in tears because she was like getting nasty emails. Like, you dumb Chinese bitch or something. I'm trying, yeah, right? Like, I'm trying not to laugh my head off. And I'm just thinking, especially people like you, because, sure, there was a death threat in there or whatever. And I'm like, man, you don't even know what, like, right-wingers like Jeremy goes through. He probably gets one every 5 minutes,
We had a guy, because we've got cameras and stuff here for obvious reasons, and Morgan's got it tied right into her phone, and whenever it's motion detecting, so anybody that it immediately starts, film. We had some fat psycho try to break into our house when we weren't here.
They were actually overweight?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh,
That's what I'm most interested in. I'm like, wait, it was a fat person?
Oh, yes.
God.
Yeah, this Antifa troll, fucking loser, fat guy.
I mean, good for them, for getting out there and getting some exercise,
Well, he tried to. There just happened to be someone here on the property. There's a lot of people here often, so there just happened to be a guy here. It was like, what are you doing? Can I help you? This is a guy that's been stalking us for years, Morgan especially, and he knows we're not home, so he's trying to break into our fucking house. And, we tell the cops, and they're like, oh, yeah, just let us know if he comes back. And I'm like, yeah, I won't be doing that. I won't be telling anyone what happens if he comes back.
That's outrageous. That's outrageous.
Isn't it?
And of course, no one cares. Sorry, bro, you get no sympathy because of...
No, and they threaten Morgan all the time, and we had this one guy like post a photo of a plane ticket that he's never going to buy, like because he's threatening to come out here and attack her. She's a 105-pound woman with rheumatoid arthritis. She's disabled. Like, I have to frequently open things for her and get things for her because she's got serious a disability that she's dealing with, and she's had it her whole life and struggles with it and doesn't complain about it and never makes it a thing, and she does her best and she works really hard. And I mean, what kind of person are you to like, yeah, fucking bitch, I'm gonna get you? Like, she's a tiny woman that's disabled. Wow, I mean, you're something.
Yeah, these people are sad. These people are sad, and it's the double standard thing is kind of like a broken record, like beaten to death talking point. But it's important to recognize that ourselves, to be like, no, this is totally unfair and unjust. Like we are in the right. Hello, we are in the right here. Because it's easy, because especially this bullshit's been going on for so long, and it's so like demoralizing and depressing. But it's like, we almost like normalize it. And oh yeah, like no, I don't get the same recognition as a human being just because I'm in Trudeau's Canada, and like we start to like normalize and internalize that, and it's like bad news.
Yeah. And at first, like initially, when this first started happening, like when I first started doing this and started, enduring the withering slings and arrows that come your way, I kind of started to feel like, man, this is a lot of like, am I being discriminated against? Am I being targeted? And yes, that is the truth. And I'm not going to be afraid to say that. How dare you, fucking white guy, you're oppressed. I'm more discriminated against than every minority in this country. I'm one of the most, disreputable, hated peoples, most slandered people in the country. I can't even get if I go into a Scotiabank property, I'll be arrested. What did I do? Nothing. They don't like my face. Mm-hmm. I can't get a passport. I'm not allowed to for no reason.
Is that right?
Just these kinds of things. Oh, yes.
You cannot get a passport.
No, I applied for one and they said, well, wait, I paid for the 48-hour turnaround. It's like $400 to get it 2 days. So I was just curious. So see if they give me one. No, they wouldn't. They waited, and months go by, almost a year goes by. And then they're like, oh yeah, we couldn't give you one because you're in jail. I'm like, that, what? That's not a what? And so that's that that doesn't even make any sense. Like they're just there's a weight on the scale when it comes to me and everything. I've had pensionable benefits canceled from Veterans Affairs Canada. That I think the Conservative Party had a hand in doing that.
Sorry, conventional. What'd you say? Conventional what?
Like pensionable benefits from Veterans Affairs, because they whittled it down to like things you can't deny people. So I'm on like the minimum amount of income from that. Like I had other benefits and stuff, and they're like, yeah, you don't qualify anymore. I'm like, how do you figure? And they're like, you just don't buy. Hang up. It's crazy. Yeah. And then people say it's fake. And I had people, it was actually, I think you posted the video actually of the Scotiabank thing. There was people out and some dumb fat woman. Why is it always a fat woman? What's with fat chicks? No more fat. That should be the tagline slope. No fat chicks. In Calgary, she went to a Scotiabank branch in Calgary. And they're like, oh, yeah, we had to throw him out of here because he was abusing the staff and blah, blah, blah. This is a random Scotiabank employee. At that time, I had never
telling complete lies.
Yes, to this Kate Kiss woman who I've never met. I have no idea who she is. And I've never been at that time. I had never been to Calgary in my life. And I'm like, what is happening around here? Like this country's just, they like to hate people. Everybody. So what's going on is I'm a very, hateable punching bag. And everybody likes to bang up on the punching bag because everyone's so frustrated and upset. They need something to, vent on. And I'm one of the things that they have no problem ganging up on and piling on because I'm a Nazi. I'm all the bad thing. Haven't you read the news, right? So
I'm allowed to shit on you. I'm allowed. I'm safe.
Yeah. There's a social, there's a social green light on people like us and people like me and people like Morgan and our supporters. And it's like, generally there's the rules, but when it comes to these people, it's different now. It's different. And I've saw it in court. I saw, things that never should happen did, and things that aren't supposed to happen do, and things that are definitely supposed to happen don't. And it's always, because of, it's because it's you. Right? They won't ever come out and say that because they know what they're doing. But just petty nonsense.
I will not confirm or deny, but there is a possibility that I may have maybe been in a Zoom call watching one of your bail hearings, maybe, possibly. Allegedly, but it was insane. It was insane.
The gag orders on those will be over soon, which is great. I'm going to be able to say anything I want. But that one particularly was ridiculous. This woman was out of her mind, and we took her to task. We put a abuse of process motion in, and the judge allowed it, and it went through, and it was slam dunk. Like she charged, this is a Quebec prosecutor.
Whoa, wait, so you can talk about this? What's going on?
No, I don't care. So there was, I think so. There was a prosecutor in Quebec, one of these ones, and this is provincial, like a provincial, this isn't a federal case,
Sure.
And she, laid charges and had a national warrant applied to me, which she does not have the authority to do. And she knew this, but they did it anyway. And we're like, fuck it, who cares?
National arrest warrant? National arrest warrant?
Yep, I had a nationwide warrant for that, for criminal harassment in Quebec of a police informant who was mercilessly harassing me, threatening my children, my family, and all. And to this day, is still operating, but he's got a surprise coming to him. So that's like, so we put it in. But the thing is, they're so used to running roughshod over people, over the citizenry, that most people don't have the means to fight back. They don't have the means to just reach in their pocket and go, oh, look, here's 10 grand. Fuck you, bitch.
Or that being said,
who can do that?
Or even having the platform to tell people, hey, this is fucking happening to me. It's outrageous.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like you also have that, which is hugely important and valuable to obviously defend yourself, but also to, create a campaign or create awareness of like, hey, you want some news? Here's some fucking news. This is happening. And it's outrageous.
They get used to it because like for every 100 people they do this to, 99 of them have no means of defense and they just get crushed. So that was the thing with my whole case. And it was like, as it was happening, I'm like, they just were like, what is he going to do? What's this idiot podcaster redneck loser going to do? Is he going to go get like $500,000 and get some big shot lawyers? Well, that is what I did, and it worked for well. But again, 99 times out of 100.
He's shaved and he has a suit on. Oh fuck. Oh shit.
Yeah. 99 times out of 100, that's not going to happen. So they're very lazy. And they do illegal, crooked stuff constantly. And then when you catch them and hold their feet to the fire, they ignore it and they create excuses because they go, oh, well, it'll bring disrepute into the justice system. It'll lower public confidence in the application of justice. All these excuses, right? It's like you getting away with lying and stealing and burying evidence and confiscating evidence. They were hiding.
That is the compromising of the system. That is the compromising, you idiot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the end result would be that they were lying and they're shitty. So that would be worse. So yeah, they say it's not in the public interest. It's like the public interest is what they decide it is, and it's very gross. So my only advice is, if anybody finds themselves in any kind of legal trouble, you get what you pay for. Don't listen to these fucking online pseudo lawyer retards with their fucking you gotta go. No, that's not how the system works. Billionaire, very powerful people like Trump, a lot of these people love, right? Does he argue his own cases? No, he spends the money on very good lawyers because that's how it works. And that's what I did. And that's why we won. That's why Chris Lysak's out of jail, and so on. You get results with the tools that work. So if you're going to do that, if you find yourself in hot water, yeah, you're going to need to pay, or you're going to be screwed. You're going to have to plead out or take a deal, which is what they want to do. That's why they stacked 23 charges onto me, and they're like, we'll get them on a few. Because the average conviction rate is, I think, 65%. So if you get 10 charges, you're going down on 6 of them, 5 or 6 of them, maybe 7 on average. And I had 23, and I beat every single one of them. And there's no media anywhere to be like, well, that's highly irregular. No one cares. I did have Reuters call the other day to be like, why are you so racist? And I was like, I replied. No, they called me and they texted me.
I saw the text messages. That was hilarious. Very well done.
I just replied with pictures of people that were murdered by immigrants over and over and over again. And they're like, well, I really want your perspective. And they're like, just ignoring what I'm doing. Like, they're too stupid to appreciate what I'm doing. And
they know exactly what they're doing. And they're like, well, I can't work with that. I need to make you look like a piece of shit. Give me something here, bud.
Exactly.
Exactly.
An honest person would be like, whoa, what is this? What are you saying?
Right.
They didn't even ask, right? Because they know. She knows exactly what I was doing.
They would maybe feel guilt and remorse, but, we're not really dealing with human beings here in this case.
Correct. Yeah. Communists don't have souls.
But no, you brought up a really good point of how you're kind of not treated. You're not treated the same way, and you're a great case study for that. And with all your charges, I don't think we've talked about Bill C-63 before. Actually, have you looked into this nonsense yet? Because with all those charges, they could basically tack on a standalone like hate crime charge to like every. Basically, you can copy paste and attach any additional hate crime charge to any of the charges that you've had. They could add an extra hate charge to. So all your firearms, all your everything. Actually, there's a hate charge. He did this because he's a hateful guy too. Extra charge.
Well, even that, like the firearms, like so a superior court judge, not even regular, like the high court of the province, ordered the RCMP to return all of my property. Said, give this man all of his. The judge was like horrified. He was like, what is this case? This is ridiculous. Give this man all of his stuff back. And he was like, looks at me, he's like, just stop being a dick. I'm like, yeah, I know. Right. So they're like, you have 90 days to return it all. That expired in like April or May or something like that. It's now, I don't know, mid-August. I had to get lawyers involved in that because the cops were like, yeah, we don't want. They'll just ignore a superior court judge. Like they can order them to do something. And they're like, meh. And the cop that I'm dealing with is already under investigation for obstruction of justice. So I said, well, it'd be a shame if you hadn't caught another one of these while you're already being investigated. I guess you don't think too much of your career, do you, constable? But it's it's they're petty. But the C-63 thing, like, yeah, I'm familiar with it. They wrote it for me. It was called the anti-hate bill when it first hit the floor in 2021. It was written or co-authored by Richard Warman and Bernie Farber of the Canadian Anti-Hate Network. And when you go through the verbiage and this is bad and that's bad and here's what, like, who else could this be for? It's tailored specifically to internet podcasters that say things they don't like and they should be absolutely punished and destroyed. And people say, like, who else could it be? And at the time and since, they've spend an inordinate amount, most of their resources on me and Derek and Ferry and the rest of the guys. So that's who it's for. If it's not for us, who is it for? Is it for Pleb? Is it for Clyde? Yeah. These guys who can't, they don't even get a strike on YouTube. Like you're being a good boy, Pleb and all these guys. You're not in trouble. Nobody's coming after you. Me on the other hand, and it's life in prison. It's a life sentence for talking. And if that's not enough, they'll get you on, there's pre-crime legislation where they can say you're likely to offend, and that obviously that would go. They'd say even if they couldn't get me in jail, which I'm sure they probably could, they'll say, oh, well, here's why you can't be on the internet anymore, because look at your history, look at all the things you said, you're likely to offend in the future. So ankle bracelet, monitor, internet ban, $50,000 fine, all that. That's on the low end. And there's also retroactive punishment. So I say something on this stream right now, like I really fucking can't stand Indians. Like I can't stand them. I don't like them at all. I think they're fucking anyway. So that clip's out there, and you can delete the stream, and I can delete the stream, and we all do. But if someone clips that, uploads it, it's just on the internet. I'm responsible for it because I made it and I had it, put on the internet. So even if I've taken every step to remove it, if it's somewhere else on the internet, it's still my fault. So even though it was in the past, even though it was 5 years ago, it doesn't matter. You're still guilty, and you can be charged for that. It's the most insane Soviet Union-like legislation in the world. It's crazy. It is beyond the fact that no one's. I mean, it did get international attention. It was on Zero Hedge went through it, Fox News, Tucker Carlson, but the rest of the world already accepted that Canada turned into North Korea and the Soviet Union a long time ago, and they just shrug and go, yeah, it's another thing Canada's doing. So when they start killing people like me, don't be surprised when everyone's like, oh, I can't believe. Why would you be surprised? This didn't happen in a vacuum. It started started mild, got moderate, now it's getting severe, and what comes after, jail, permanent jail, life in prison, seize all your assets, that doesn't work. They just kill you, which they will inevitably do. That's the pattern. So you compared it to a drug addiction. It starts with, you're talking about a guy who's starting to do heroin. And you're like, oh, don't worry, he's done now. He's just going to do heroin a couple times, and then he's going to sober right up and go back to normal. Yeah. No, he's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse until he's dead and is breaking into cars and attacking people for change.
That's actually pretty funny. That's a pretty funny bit. It's like Trudeau acting like a cokehead. It's like, are you fiending more authoritarian rule and more power? No. I gave that up a long time ago. I gave that up. I'm not into that stuff anymore. Are you sure? Because you just people can't even see the news anymore on Instagram. No, man, I quit a long time ago. I got to go to the bathroom. 1 second. Did you just pass another fucking speech law in there? Yeah, maybe.
They're all weak too. Like the Conservatives are not strong people. They're not able to withstand. They won't stand in the fire and sacrifice themselves. And obviously, right? We went through the last 4 years, the convoy, the pandemic, the needle time, the medicine stuff. They didn't, they're not about controversy. They can't withstand any of that. So the idea that weak people are not going to take advantage of this extreme amount of power that they've been given to hurt the people that they don't like is hilarious, because that's always what they do. The worst bullies and the worst oppressors and the worst, monsters in history were always very weak, pathetic people. That's why they're there. That's what enables them to do these things.
Is there another pattern there of them being they're weak, but they're charismatic, they're good manipulators, they're good social climbers or something?
I don't know if that's even true. I've never known it. They're always terrible. Stalin was a little tiny weird sex pervert, freak, criminal gangster. He climbed the ranks he murdered his way up there. He was a murderer and a bank robber and a gangster. That's how he got involved.
That reminds me of the clip. That reminds me of the clip of Justin Trudeau.
Castro,
It reminds me of the clip of Trudeau talking about his brother who died in an avalanche, and he's he does not look distraught at all about it. Have you seen this before?
Yeah. Yes, that's creepy. It's very bizarre. And the whole family's just kind of giggling about it, oh well. And they never found his body. They're they didn't even look. They're it's probably out in the ocean now. Oh well, what can you do? Anyway, back home, guys. So
I've been watching a lot of Game of Thrones, so it makes me think of he's the next heir to the throne. The other guy died. Who's the next male? Who's the next man?
Do yourself a favor and skip the last season as much as you're going to want to watch it. Don't watch it at all and just fill in the blanks for yourself. Imagine your own ending. It's that bad.
Okay, so we're going to get right into it. Spoiler alerts for anyone who hasn't seen this, because I just watched an episode last night. Spoiler alerts if you're watching Game of Thrones. So I just finished the 3rd episode of the final season, and they kill the Ice King. And I just feel like I came. And I'm there's 3 more episodes left? What? How does
Yeah,
that?
they jammed it all into like 10, like way less episodes. So the writers were on the hook to do like a $300 million
Okay.
deal or something for Star Wars and
Don't
Disney.
spoil anything.
So they
Right.
just phoned it in. And there's like, if you pay attention, there's like coffee cups and Starbucks cups and like Pepsi
shit.
cans in the shots.
Right.
Like it's terrible. Like they don't care. They just mailed it in. The writing makes no sense. The ending's ridiculous. You're like, what the?
Oh God.
It's just, well, because the source material they ran out because they were basing them off of Martin's books, and then he hadn't finished the last one.
Right. So
like,
they had gone beyond what the actual source material was, and they made it.
Yeah,
up.
they just had these guys wing it, and they're just
Interesting.
idiot, moron, woke retards, and obviously,
okay.
and then they went and destroyed Star Wars immediately after. So
I don't even want to see that because that's just fucking depressing. I think I was actually hearing you on a stream the other night talking about. I forget what you were specifically talking about, but it essentially, like, it made me think of what inspired me or radicalized me into politics to begin with. And that is, they don't make good shit anymore. They're not making good stuff anymore. I want quality movies, funny TV shows, quality comedians. And it's like, we're not going to fucking have that with all this political correctness. And it's like infuriating me. It's like, oh, don't you care about taxes? It's like, no, I want fucking better stand-up comedians on CBC. I want better fucking shit to watch and enjoy during my leisure time. Okay, I'm pissed.
as if we're not capable of making those things. It's the destruction and the degradation and the ruin of like things that people love that make them interested in why, you know, and sooner or later, whatever it is, that's why so many people are angry these days. Whatever it is you like, sooner or later, the cancer is coming for that thing. Like even the sports ball bros, right? They're just trying to grin and bear it. Like, yeah, do you like your gay Punjabi national anthem? Do you like your rainbow hockey sticks? Do you like your George Floyd kneeling? Do you like your constant fucking shaming and like it's a hockey game? I came here to get away from this, and now you know. But they're slaves, and I saw them all burning their football jerseys and season tickets. I'm never going to do this shit again after, you know, and where are they now? Right back to it. They're right back in there like it never happened. They're just good little boys and girls and not made of any kind of principles.
Yeah. I kind of wrote a song. I have a song I'm going to play at the end of the stream tonight. It's called Fuck Trudeau, but it's not.
Did you
not
do
what
this?
You think.
Is this the one you did in Hamilton?
No, that one's a super special one. That's you guys have all that content recorded, so
yeah, we sure do.
Yeah, no, dude, there's the one song I probably won't post on the internet.
You're going to jail too. Yeah.
Yeah, no, of course. Well, that's kind of why I'm excited to do this campaign to try and stop this bill because I'm pot committed. Okay, like if this bill does pass, oh fuck! Like we got to make sure this doesn't pass because my ass is on the line.
Well, and it's life in prison is like so death basically. It's a death sentence because I'll never get out of jail. I'll die in there. I'll either be killed in there or I'll just never get out because it's like, what do you think they're gonna? Oh, we'll give you 10 years and you'll be out in 3 or 4. Like no, there'll be more laws that are passed. Mr. Speaker, these people are so dangerous. We can't let. You're right. We got to keep them in longer. We got to enhance the punishments. We got to just look what they're doing in England and the United States. When you become a political prisoner of this global system, you're fucking done. Especially now, where they're like, a couple of years isn't enough. A couple of years for talking isn't enough. We need to make it a life sentence. Yeah. So you're saying you're going to take away the rest of my life for talking. That's to the death. That's a death threat. That's a threat of death to me. So I take that very seriously. And if that's what they try to impose upon me, they will be responsible for the consequences.
Yeah. And I know it's super, people probably think I'm naive or it's silly. I'd like to hear your honest opinion. Do you think my mission here to stop Bill C-63 is just a fucking fool's errand? It's like, Greg, you're a naive little child. What are you even thinking?
What I would do is I would pressure the senators. Because last time that's who kind of stalled this, and then the election happened, and it got kicked. You know, once it's the election happens, everything gets off the table. The conservatives are gutless and not going to. He's worried about how his pipes look, and they're not doing it.
He would want it to pass before the 2025 election because that's another. Hey, you're gonna vote for me? I'll repeal it.
Yeah, it'll give him. That's right. It'll give him more ammunition, right?
For sure.
So. Yeah, I'm sure it'll pass in House of Commons because you've got this. They're all on the same team. The NDP and the Liberals they're one party. It's preposterous. Why do you even have two? Right. It's been years of you voting along party lines together for what, 3 years now? 4 years now?
Yeah.
So what's the point? So it'll pass. But then the senators are a little. I mean, they are mostly appointed by Trudeau, but but he's going to be gone soon, and they're still going to be there. So
yeah, and they kind of have the opportunity, like maybe they're getting older, they don't have the same amount of pressure and incentive to like be a fucking yes man, party man, and they may be like, you know what, maybe I do want to leave a legacy and say fuck you.
Yeah,
maybe I do have a little bit of a Canadian pride left to stop this bullshit. That's actually a great point.
They're pretty woke and silly like everywhere else, but it seems like they are older. Like most of the senators are like 60, 70 years old. Like they're so they come from a different time and a different era, and they've obviously budged on a lot of things. But I don't know. I'll be interested to see when you put this in front of them, and they're like, "We're doing what? Yeah, like, yeah, we're gonna put people in jail forever for talking." Like, what is this a joke? Like, I would think it was a prank. If I was, I'd be like, "Are you? What is this?" Like, well, people are mean on the internet, so we should give them life sentences as if they were serial killers. But we have pedophiles and murderers and rapists, and they're in and out. They get bail. They might get 5 years sometimes. But they see these white guys were talking, so we need to give them Robert Pickton level sentences. We need to give them Russell Williams level sentences because they are that bad. They're the same as the guy, the military Air Force colonel that broke into women's houses, murdered them, and wore their underwear and took pictures. They're at the same level of that, so they need to get that level of punishment. I'm Bernie Farber, and I'm an out-of-control neurotic Jew. That's the state of affairs right now.
I could. Oh well. He's not the chair of anti-hate anymore, but yeah.
Oh, no, right. He fucking said
actually,
some
Jeremy,
words.
he's not the chair of anti-hate anymore. No.
He said some words. Oh shit! I like how they're always because we pointed this out from the beginning, and they're like, no, we're not government funded. That never happened. And then they got $800 million or $800,000 from the government, just recently. And I'm like,
yep,
you're literally. You're a government pressure tank. That's what you're there for. So, is to attack political enemies. That's your whole purpose. You're the fucking not the what was the thing called in East Germany? I can't remember. The Cheka, or no, that was the police. I can't remember. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Scum.
Yeah.
Commie scum.
Commie scum. No. So I wanted to ask you about. My mind just went blank. Tuck Fruto says, Greg, Jeremy, just wanted to show some gratitude to both of you for what you guys do. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Tuck.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Tuck rules.
I am going to keep this stream rolling here in a sec, but shoot, what was I going to ask you about? Something. That's a really good point you brought up with the senators, though. Or like, I think that's a good kind of message I want to send to people. All we need to do is convince one person to like share our video or like start to share our perspective on this bill. And if it's the right person, can make a huge fucking difference.
So it's like, like you're actually, I heard you listening earlier. I was spying and you said that Polyev would just kind of let it in like an own goal or something,
sure,
just kind of let it in.
Yeah.
So using that kind of metaphor, it's like, where does it need to be stopped? Like what's the last line of defense? And it's going to take the most time to get there to the senator level. That's where it has to pass. It's going to live or die right then and there. That's the final. So I think focus all of your efforts there and fuck the conservative. Like they can't do anything anyway. You're not going to convince the liberals not to do what the party says because they're all fucking whipped communists now. The NDP. So that's just all feels like a dead end to me. But the senators have an individual legacy to think of. They're not. I mean, the governments are here today, gone tomorrow. Some of these senators could be here 10, 20 years. And it's more likely, I think, on a human level, you might connect with some of these people, regardless of whatever party stripe they came from, that you can convince them, like, this is insane. Like, sir, madam, just read this, please. Would you just look at this and kind of get and try to mobilize them that way? And then if you just have a few of them that are like, yeah, we're not passing this, they'll kick it back down and then they'll try to, rejig it and send it back. And I think they get a couple of shots at this, but if they can't get it through the Senate, then that's it. They're gonna have to just start all over again, which was years and years. So that would be a huge victory. So that's what I would focus on that because that's like the critical. That can't fail. Like that's absolutely the no fail. You must, it must not make it past the Senate. So I would focus every resource on them and just bypass the Parliament entirely because it's totally compromised. And so we all know, like. Oh, look, we've got the biggest petition in history. Nobody cares. Everybody's outside honking. Nobody cares. Like, okay, so they're just gone.
Yeah.
They did. There was. I think that they did shoot it down last time. I remember
Parliament dissolved because of the election in 21.
Yeah, but I think they were discussing it, and even and they were going to shoot the EMA down too. That's why Trudeau called it off. They knew that the Senate was like not on board with this. They were going to shut him down. So I remember when I wrote my demand letter to all the senators and all the people, and I was like, "This is my list of terror demands," because they're on the news every day. So, oh, the militia with a steel resolve is going to kill us all, and I was like, "I'm just going to mass spam every senator in the country and every MP," which I did. I don't think that had anything to do with it. I think independently they themselves were like, yeah,
You never know. You never know.
a little wild. But I think because why did he stop? Like like why did he turn it off? Like they obviously wanted to keep going after us and keep putting more people because they did.
Did they actually call you a terrorist cell with a steel resolve?
Yeah, Marco Mendocino said we were an agile steel resolve. Like all this stuff, like booze bag Marco. He's a fucking God. He's dumb. He's so dumb. It's so
they're animated by an extreme ideology, and I did not get a lot of sleep last night. I'm just reading the script right now, but they're bad people.
Yeah, that's right. It was I thought I remember that. It was sent back a couple times to be revised because they're like, this is too much, it's too crazy. But this version is even worse than that one.
Yeah.
That one was pretty bad. I think this one's even more egregious than the first one was.
Yeah,
so I don't know. The conspiracy part of your mind goes, did they, because they've appointed more senators since, did they grease the wheels? Did they pay people? Are they like, don't worry, it's getting through this time? I don't know. But
They have a way better Trojan horse this time. I'll give them that. I looked up Bill C-36, which you mentioned is like the prior iteration. I have it on screen. An act to amend the Criminal Code and the Canadian Rights Act to make related amendments to another act, hate propaganda, hate crimes, and hate speech. But if you look at Bill C-63, enact the Online Harms Act to amend the Criminal Code, Canadian Human Rights Act, related the mandatory reporting of internet child porn by so it's to protect kids.
Yeah, they try
better. It's a much better Trojan horse, and it makes you look like the asshole when you oppose. Oh, you don't want to protect kids online from pedophiles, and it's like you're the Liberal Party. You clearly don't care about children being fucking groomed by pedophiles. Hello.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I think if you were able to put this together in a short, concise, accurate and compelling package of what this really is, and you can demonstrate this is a deliberate attempt, like sir or madam, whichever senator you're talking to, this is a deliberate attempt to mislead you and confuse you and fool you as to the intent of what this bill is, and here's why. Here's the language they're using here, but let's look at this. Like no one disagrees that children should be protected, so so why is this in here? Like, is this necessary? Like, what does this even have to do with children? What does this have to? It's just getting their attention is going to be the tough part, and then getting them to listen. So I don't know if people spam their inboxes constantly every day. I don't think physical protesting in the street. Everybody's over that, and they just tuned it out now. It's become such a boring thing now. Like no one cares anymore. Like you said earlier, like everyone's tired. They're tired of all the same stuff. So you have to find a way to get at them, and that's novel and new and uncomfortable and not, that pops up on their radar. So I don't know what that looks like if you mass, you're phoning these people or you're finding their I don't know. So or maybe you can find some MPs that have connections into the Senate that can like get the ear of someone. But that's where I would shoot for the Senate.
Hey, in
a messaging way. I don't mean shoot at the senators with guns or bombs or knives. I mean, aim your messaging efforts towards those fine folks and see if they'll.
Oh, thanks for clarifying. Thank you for clarifying.
Yes. Well, they are listening.
I really appreciate that strategy actually to reach senators, and I can kind of tell you that part of this strategy I have in mind is to create short, quick, informative, entertaining videos that can be spammed in all sorts of directions, including. The inbox of an MP, or I think you're right. Maybe a senator is actually a way better place to focus.
As much as I don't like the guy either, I don't know how much sway he has, but somebody like Peterson might be able to force this a little more.
Sure.
Viva Fry would be a good ally.
And that's another hope. Like I want to do what you said, which is like make these videos that clearly explain everything. Sure, maybe we'll have a written article version of that. That's a good idea. Because it's you'd be surprised how many older people are like, no, I prefer to read. I actually don't want to watch the video. But but yeah, and again, it's like maybe one of the shorts gets shared by some like American comedian, And like that is a huge effect, because if you've noticed, how does the Ottawa bubble react to things when they're being humiliated internationally? Then they're like, oh shit, we look like fucking idiots. Oh fuck, they're onto us. And you're right. It got brought up with people internationally before, like, well, Canada's all fucked up. But it's like we gotta keep doing that, like over and over, and make it painful as fuck. And it's like, oh, you support Jag Meat? You support Trudeau? Like, aren't they pushing this thing? Like, what the fuck? Like that, make it uncool internationally. We're going for the Hail Mary here. We're going for the Hail Mary here.
Oh, Peterson says he doesn't think it'll pass. Like, that's the thing. You can't take that risk with this. This is like, there's certain things that are just, you can't even afford to even be a little bit lenient and go, what's the worst could happen? It's like, I don't need to put my seatbelt on driving this car. Like, there's certain things that are like, whatever. What's the worst that could happen? But this is a nuclear reactor. Like, you don't take any risks. You don't take any at all. You do everything exactly by the book, because the consequences, if you're wrong or if you make a mistake, are catastrophic. It's the end of the country if you fuck this up. So there's no room for what's the big deal? This is somebody lining up a gun to the head of Canada, and you're like, they'll probably miss. Like, we're not taking that. What are you, Trump Secret Service now? Get the fucking do your job. It shouldn't even get this close. It shouldn't even have gotten to this point, but it has, because everyone's so lazy and boring.
No, it's true. It's like,
so.
If there's anything that we should be diligent about, it's something like this. Like, because it's a lack of, like, that shows a total lack of diligence and sort of attention to a very important, no, it'll be fine. And it's funny, because I feel like I said this earlier, but like, I feel like demoralized people go in either direction. They're like, oh, it's going to pass. There's something we can do. Or, it's not going to pass. Don't worry about it, bro. Yeah. And it's like, great. I guess we don't have to do fucking anything then. Let's just fucking sit on our fucking hands and just do shit all.
When it does pass, someone please send Jordan Peterson one of my "That'll Never Happen" brochure, because that's exactly what he just did. That'll never bloody happen, bro. It'll never pass. It'll never. Oh, really? We'll see. No thanks to you. You're not helping at all. You're just lazy. Or he doesn't care. He's going to just let it happen, right?
Yeah, no, and I brought this point up earlier. You may have heard it, which is Bill C-18, the Online News Act, passed, and it's an objective legislative failure. You can't even share news on certain platforms now. Even left-wing journalists like Andrew Coyne agree that this is bad legislation. Yeah. It's like, the same sort of gaps and criticism that C-18 apply to C-63. You want to try to fine big tech platforms. You want to try and control the internet. It's bad fucking legislation with huge loopholes. And the legislators are like, oh, well, we'll just figure it out in post. We'll fix it in post. We'll just figure it out once it's already a fucking law. And we spent hundreds of millions of dollars setting up all these crazy authoritative bodies to just lord over people's internet comments.
Speaking of Game of Thrones, I'll let you go back to your show here.
Sure.
I'm gonna get the shower and stuff, but another kind of, not a Hail Mary. If I had the juice, if I had the squeeze, if I had the social clout and power, and the things that these fucking freaks have and totally misuse and sell us all down the river by not using properly, but if I could, I would get into the ear of like Mark Carney, or whoever is like in the runner the on deck position to like probably take over from Trudeau. He's obviously toast, and he's just kicking. He's going to go out kicking and screaming. He's not going to let it go. They all want him gone. Everybody hates him. His own party hates him. Everybody. So he's just going to hang in there. So you go, listen, like, this is his. You can put this on him. If you kind of come out, internally, right, in the Liberal Party, like, listen, we're going to axe this thing, and we're going to pin it on him, and you're going to be the hero. You get to be the hero that saves free speech in Canada from this very unpopular guy. He's outgoing. You can reinvigorate the Liberal Party this way. You can win some good faith with the public. Like, there's nothing but upside here for you. He's dead. He's a lame duck. He's on the way out. You got nothing to lose. What are you going to? Oh, you're going to go against Trudeau, and what's going to happen to you? Maybe he kicks you out of the party or out of the caucus for 6 months, and then you come back as a hero. It's that, because these people, what are they motivated by? Their ego and their legacy and their power. They're like, oh, I could go higher up the chain by doing this. Yes, you could. You could.
Yeah, so, and like embracing.
It's worth looking into.
Then that's a good strategy, because it's so true. I find more and more, if you like embrace the cynicism of politics, you realize it boils down to like winning the current battle of the day. Sure, you might completely change your values and everything about yourself, but it's like that's what people do to just win more power, attention, popularity. And it's true. If it could be framed to one of these people as like hey, this could be a good move for you. Interesting.
Absolutely.
and we will get none of the credit. Fantastic.
Nope, never.
Hey, thanks for hopping on, man. I appreciate it. Do you want to plug anything?
Appreciate it, man. I don't have anything to plug. All of our websites and stuff are down right now. So I just put a clip out from the show, actually, from Hamilton. I put it on Twitter. And
oh, nice.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I got a couple. I'll put another one out tomorrow. I got 2 or 3. Just Wiretap took some video while I was there, and we're still working on that. And
nice.
I don't know. I'll have to crack the whip at Edgy and see how we do. There's like something like 4 terabytes of video. I don't know. It's a lot, man. We filmed a lot of stuff.
That's awesome.
Eventually we'll have it up, and it'll just be, it'll be there for the community to enjoy, and whoever else is maybe interested. But hopefully that's a big project, though. That's a lot of work. So I don't really have anything to sell and plug other than basically my Twitter account and my Telegram page. That's basically all I'm allowed to use at this point. my Rumble page and all that stuff. And you can find me on Twitter at Jeremy Mackenzie with no E at the end. ENZI. No E, it wouldn't fit. They said I was too big, it was too thick, it wouldn't fit. I tried to fit it in, and they said that it would not fit. It wouldn't fit. I tried to make it fit, and it wouldn't fit. So that's it. That's where you can find all my stuff, and I'll be around causing mayhem, and I'll probably do another stream tomorrow, and then it's the weekend, and we're working on a lot of stuff over here. So I've never been busier, actually.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
man.
I appreciate the help, man.
I love your bio. The bad guy, most hated man in Canada, entertainer and activist, Canadian nationalist. Fantastic. Hey, thanks so much for hopping on the stream, and glad to hear you're busy. Glad to hear. I'm excited to see what comes next for Mr. Jeremy Mackenzie.
Anytime, brother.
All right. Later. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
There he is, the one and only. The one and only Jeremy Mackenzie, biggest dissident in the country. I actually went to got to go to his event and perform at his event, Diagolon Road Rage Terror Tour event. It was a lot of fun. The crowd was the best. I've performed live here and there, sure, but this was like a big crowd, and it was a great crowd. It was a lot of fun. Maybe we'll watch a bit of this. It has. We can see Chris Sky at the beginning here. Whoops. Let's turn it up.
I have sex with my 72-year-old mother. So I know it was Diagolon that hacked my chat.
Because Diagolon is a violent white nationalist organization.
Amazing.
Sometimes the news just gets in the way. There's things you want to talk about or to get at. And I'm 10 minutes away from going on stage in Calgary. I'm in the back like, all right, let's do this. Let's check my phone. Oh, fucking Trump's gotten shot. I don't think anybody will care about that. I can't believe they would do such a thing. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it! Can you believe this? They tried to kill your favorite president. Can you believe they tried to kill your favorite president? They tried to shoot me, but I moved my head around like a deranged bird. I am like a pigeon on methamphetamine. I have perfect hearing. I have supersonic hearing. I could hear the bullet coming. That's what I did. I could hear it, and I said, no, you will not shoot me today, no.
Amazing. Amazing. I remember seeing that live, and I thought, man, Jeremy kind of looks like a comedian. I would say that's easily. There's a lot of good Trump impressions. Easily in the top 5. Could potentially be in the top 3 of like best Trump impressions. It's pretty fucking good. And it was cool to see Jeremy kind of, he's usually in front of a computer, right? So streaming is quite different from being on stage, but he's definitely like a natural, without a doubt.
They tried to shoot me, but I moved my head around like a deranged bird.
Deranged bird. He's got it. He's got it, man. He's got it. That's only after this was his 7th live show, I think. So we will be watching your career with great interest, as they say on from Star Wars. How are we feeling? How are we doing? I'm going to watch the rest of this Tyranny video because we got most of the way through it. I think I might skip the video talking about what's actually in the bill, because that one's kind of longer and we kind of covered a lot with Jeremy already. So, yeah, we'll watch the rest of this Tyranny video, then I'll play my new song. All right, let's get it on screen. Whoop.
The goal is to make people feel they're always being watched, leading them to censor themselves out of fear and to catch those who speak their mind. Also, tyrants often invent or exaggerate external threats. Keeping the state always ready for war allows them to demand sacrifices from the people and label any opposition as treason. Aristotle saw how some tyrants engage their subjects in war for the purpose of keeping them in need of a leader. This diverts attention from problems at home and lets the tyrant play the role of necessary protector.
Yeah, this one's pretty scary because, you know, there's obviously the Palestine-Israel conflict. There is the Ukraine-Russia conflict. And the common thing there is the mainstream news was really like vilifying Putin and Russia at the beginning of that. They've kind of, it's not as intense as it was at the beginning, but yeah, the mainstream media, it's interesting in Canada because the left vilifies, the left doesn't really vilify Israel as much as they kind of champion the Palestinian cause. And then the right wing totally vilifies everything about Palestine. And the spooky thing, of course, is the anti-Semitism speech laws, which are being passed in like pretty well every Western country, if they're not already. And I guess it is scary to think like if there is a false flag or if there is like another kind of mass casualty event, they're going to try to use that to pass more speech laws, obviously. And yeah, it works. It works because it's like, oh my God, people are dying. Like, of course we have to, we have to pass this law to give people more power.
Perhaps one of the cleverest tactics Aristotle noticed was how tyrants handle existing institutions. Instead of destroying respected offices or councils, smart tyrants change them from within. They might keep the outward appearance of courts or assemblies, but strip away their real power. This lets tyrants claim they're following tradition and respecting long-standing laws while actually controlling everything themselves. What's crucial to understand is
What are they doing that with? They're doing that with the media, obviously. Like, hey, this is just the traditional mass media in Canada. A diverse institution of many different corporations. There's basically only 3. And they're all completely independent. They're all now subsidized by the government. And it helps satisfy democracy. Well, they all basically support the ruling party. Great. Awesome. Just classic free Canadian media, right? Not all being paid by the federal government, just like CBC marching to the same orders.
That these tactics don't work alone. They form a system, reinforcing each other to create a cycle of oppression that's hard to break once it's established. The tyrant aims at 3 things, Aristotle writes: to keep his subjects humble, to perpetuate mutual distrust among men, and to cut them off from political life. Tyranny becomes entrenched not just through force, but by reshaping how society itself works.
Whoa, that was a good summary at the end.
To create a cycle of oppression that's hard to break once it's established. The tyrant aims at 3 things, Aristotle writes: to keep his subjects humble, to perpetuate mutual distrust among men, and to cut them off from political life. Tyranny becomes entrenched not just through force.
Okay, so that's crazy. Cut them off from political life? Cut them off from political life. I just think that's crazy in the context of my experience being a Canadian, because that I feel like the groundwork for that, it just goes way, way back. Maybe not like the intentional thing of cutting people off from political life in Canada, but I feel like for a long, long time, people are just not, especially before like the rise of Trump, just like who gave a shit? Who gave a shit about politics in Canada? You know? And I think since the rise of Trump, I think people are incentivized to not give a shit. I don't want to participate in that. On the right wing, it's like, I don't want to get called racist. On the left wing, it's like, well, become an extremist and agree with us, or like you're going to get bullied. So I guess it's a little sort of different now, but like, the left wing turns people off, I think, for a similar reason, where it's like, I don't want to get caught up in all that insanity, right? But what were those again? Cycle of oppression. Keep citizens humble, mutual distrust, and cut them off from political life. And I think the added thing to that, which they mentioned, is destroy people who cultivate these things. Destroy people, and Jeremy's a perfect example, right? Destroy people who cultivate these things. The opposite of being humble is being, what, proud or assertive? What is the opposite of humble? I feel like it might be a negative word, like pretentious or something. And although pretentiousness does kind of have a negative connotation, proud, noble, overbearing. These are the opposites of humble, according to Google Dictionary. Arrogant, superior, egotistical, pretentious, pompous, conceited, presumptuous. Noble and proud are the positive ones. But, you know, you could call it pretentious, but it's like we need to be pretentious, you know, like especially like white Canadian people, because we've been like passive doormats for just like so long. And hey, we're always going to help out. We're always going to help people out. And now it's at the point where it's like, yeah, you can't even get a job at CBC if you're a white guy. Like, no chance. That should be an outrageous thing. That is supposed to be the whole like discrimination against somebody for who they are. But it's like, no, we'll take it. No, well, it's okay because we're colonizers. You know, we need to be the opposite of humble. But the other 2 points were mutual distrust. People who are encouraging trust among citizens. Find your friends. Like the whole Diagolon Jeremy campaign that he did during COVID. Or Tribe and Train for that matter. And then number 3, cut them off from political life. Make them feel like they can't have an effect on anything. This is a big one. I feel like Canadians are very, very disenchanted with the idea that they could make any fucking difference. Meanwhile, there are like Indian foreign students from India who are like, let's protest and fight for our right, even though we just fucking got here. But that's a really like interesting juxtaposition, isn't it? People who just fucking got here, aren't even citizens, don't even have like their papers yet, and they are more engaged in political life than old stock Canadians. They're more like they're using like their freedom in a free democracy more than old stock Canadians who have been here for a while. To me, that's crazy. That says everything. But yeah, let's get to the end of this video.
But by reshaping how society itself works. Despite the numerous tactics tyrants use to maintain power, Aristotle observed that tyrannies are often the least stable form of government. But why is that? What causes the downfall of tyrants? Aristotle identified several key factors. First and foremost, he noted that tyrannies often fall due to the intense hatred they generate among the population. This hatred, Aristotle says, can lead to bold acts of resistance, even at great personal risk. Interestingly, Aristotle points out that tyrannies can also collapse due to contempt. If a tyrant is seen as weak, stupid, or otherwise incompetent, people might be emboldened to challenge their rule. He gives the example of Sardanapalus, who was reportedly overthrown after he was seen combing hair with his women, or Dionysius of Syracuse, who was attacked for being a drunkard. Another cause Aristotle identified is internal conflict within the tyrant's inner circle. Those who are close to the tyrant might conspire to overthrow them out of personal ambition or fear. This is particularly likely if the tyrant's chosen successors are seen as unworthy, or if there's competition for influence. He also noted that external pressures can lead to a tyrant's downfall. Other states, especially democracies or aristocracies, might support opposition movements or directly intervene to overthrow a tyranny. Perhaps most intriguingly, Aristotle observed that some tyrannies fall not through violent overthrow, but through a gradual relaxation of control. Some tyrants or their successors seeking to reduce the hatred against them might voluntarily give up some of their power.
This is exactly what happened after the trucker convoy, by the way. They're like, oh, we're getting too tyrannical. People are calling us out on it. Let's just dial it back a bit. Let's let's let these disgusting, these disgusting, disobedient subjects who don't want to get the injection, sure, we'll let them go back into McDonald's.
Inadvertently opening the door to further reforms. Finally, Aristotle makes a crucial distinction between tyrants who seize power themselves and those who inherit it. He notes that most of those who have won tyrannies by their own effort have managed to keep their offices until the end. However, those who inherit tyrannies almost all lose them quickly. Why? Because these inheritors often live degenerate lives, making them despicable in the eyes of the people and providing opportunities for their opponents to get rid of him. In all these cases, Aristotle saw the seeds of a tyrant's destruction in the very nature of tyranny itself. The oppression and self-interest that define tyrannical rule ultimately generate the forces that eventually bring about its downfall. As we wrap up...
Very interesting, very interesting. So Trudeau's going to fail because he's a degenerate. That's what I just wrote down in my notes. I'm like, okay, Trudeau's going to fail because he's a degenerate. I feel like people don't talk about enough. People in politics don't talk about enough how he's like divorced his wife, like that his wife left him. That should be talked about way more often. Like that's such an easy one that speaks to like what a loser he is. You know, like, am I crazy? I feel like that should be talked about. Like that should be you should make that synonymous with Trudeau. The fact that his wife left him. Why are we listening to this guy? His wife doesn't even listen to him. What? Crazy.
Up our exploration of Aristotle's insights on tyranny, I'd love to hear from you. Do you see any parallels between these ancient...
Okay, cool video. Cool video. That was cool. That was nice. What did you guys think? You vibing or what? You vibing with the tyranny vid? Do you feel like you're in history class? History class with Greg Wycliffe. That was a really great call with Jeremy, though. That was fun to... He had some fantastic ideas. I'm going to go back and listen to it and probably write more notes because he had a lot of great stuff in there. We need to acknowledge people like Bertrand Comparet, Colonel William P. Gale, or James P. Wickstrom. I don't know who those people are. Canadian Army thankfully said, no, we aren't going to help clear out the truckers. Is that right? Were they volunteered to take out the truckers? I guess I probably should have known that. There's so much, honestly, I know people might know me as being somebody who was at the convoy. There's so much convoy lore. Like, there's so much convoy lore. It's really such a saga, that whole thing, as I'm sure you guys are aware. Just like his TV dad's wife left his TV dad. Just like his TV dad's... Oh, so the depiction of Pierre Trudeau on TV or something? Huh. You know what I'm going to do? We're going to watch this again and we're going to cry together. We're going to cry together of how sad it is. No, we're not going to bully here today. I really need to go to the bathroom, but I'm going to just throw up this vid. It's about Bill C-63. It's a good short one, though. So I do kind of want to just kind of pop it on for a quick sec here. What am I doing here?
The Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms is sounding the alarm over Bill C-63. They say it's the most aggressive assault on free speech in modern Canadian history. Now, to talk about this in more detail is the president of the Justice Center, John Carpio, joins us once again from Calgary. John, what's your biggest concern with this bill?
Well, it's going to give powers to the Canadian Human Rights Commission to prosecute Canadians over non-criminal speech that is deemed to be hateful, which is incredibly subjective because hate, like beauty, is in the eye of the beholder. And if the Canadian Human Rights Commission bureaucrats deem your speech to be hateful, you can be subjected to a penalty of up to $50,000 payable to the federal government, plus an additional $20,000 payable to somebody who feels offended. And it's going to also allow for anonymous complaints so that you don't have the right to face your accuser or ask questions of your accuser or even know who your accuser is. And there's also going to be expanded powers for Prime Minister Trudeau and the federal cabinet to make all kinds of new regulations to censor social media services. And there's even a provision for preemptive punishment in respect of something that somebody might say in future.
Now, you feel that the Online Harms Act would enable thousands of, quote, woke activists to file human rights complaints against the speech of people they disagree with, John. So even if many of the complaints are dismissed, Canadians will still be forced to spend time, money, and energy on defending themselves?
That's exactly it. It costs nothing to file a complaint. And people on the receiving end of these complaints are going to have to, they're going to have the process hanging over their heads for years, literally years, and will be spending tens of thousands of dollars on legal bills to defend themselves. Or they could just write a $5,000 check and apologize and get rid of it. But neither of those alternatives is good for free speech. It's going to have a big chilling effect where people are going to self-censor on various sensitive topics, the immigration, Aboriginal policy, transgender ideology, parental rights. There's going to be a lot of issues where people are going to self-censor because they can get prosecuted for non-criminal speech that in somebody else's subjective opinion, they might feel is hateful.
Great summary. Love this guy, John Carpe. That's why I want to show this video. It's sure people. I've seen lawyers talk about it and stuff, and sometimes like, oh well, there's some problems, and it's like this guy kind of does a very good job of sounding reasonable and being accurate, and also saying like, no, this is going to be a nightmare. It's obviously going to be used for political reasons, obviously. So shout outs to this guy, John Carpe, for Constitutional Freedoms. Or Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms.
So, John, where does Bill C-63 stand right now?
Well, past first reading, and so it's important for people to contact their federal member of parliament by phone, by email, urge them to vote against the Online Harms Act, and people wanting more information about the bill that could be found on our website at www.jccf.ca.
John Carpe, president of the...
Amazing. I'm just reading something more about John right now. Statement from the Justice Center. John Carpe, innocent on criminal wrongdoings, charges stayed on October 27th. Manitoba Crown prosecutors stayed the criminal charges that had brought against Alberta lawyer and Justice Center President John Carpe for intimidation and obstructing justice. This is interesting. So he knows what it's like. This lawyer knows what it's like to get bullshit charges. It was more than 2 years ago that Mr. Carpe apologized for having made an error in judgment by having included a judge in the passive surveillance of government officials. The sole purpose and intent of this passive surveillance was to attempt to determine the veracity or lack thereof of rumors that Manitoba government officials, including judges, were not complying with COVID restrictions, which they themselves had placed on the people of Manitoba. During lockdowns, media reported that many government officials across Canada did not follow COVID restrictions. The decision of the Crown to stay the charges, that's dropped. I like to call it dropped because stay it's more of that like double speak language that's like misleading. It's dropped. That's not the term they use, but I feel like dropped is a more accurate one. The decision of the Crown to stay the charges reflects the fact, even if that's technically wrong, I just feel like staying a charge makes it seem like they're still there. Stay, even though that might be the wrong vernacular, like there's something different than being dropped. Like being dropped is like another outcome. I just feel like the whole stay thing is very... It's not a powerful enough word to reflect the fact that these, like, they basically got thrown out. Anyway, the decision of the Crown to stay the charges reflects the fact that there was never any criminal wrongdoing on the part of Mr. Carpe. There was nothing criminal about Mr. Carpe's error in judgment. There was never any intent to interfere with the course of justice or with the judicial process. It's almost like they just wanted to charge him with intimidation and obstructing justice because they didn't like his politics. Crazy theory. I know I'm a conspiracy theorist over here, but I know it's a crazy theory. More than 17 months after this passive surveillance had taken place, Mr. Carpe was unexpectedly arrested on December 30th. Wow. And spent 23 days in jail during his Christmas holidays. That's crazy, dude. How have I not heard? This is a crazy story, dude. Imagine getting arrested December 30th. Talk about trying to demoralize somebody. Lawyers in Manitoba and across Canada routinely hire private investigators, particularly in the presence of... How long is this? It's not that long. Okay, let's finish this. Lawyers in Manitoba and across Canada routinely hire private investigators, particularly in the practice of family law and insurance law. Crown prosecutors know that there's nothing criminal about operating a private investigation business or retaining a private investigator or conducting passive surveillance. It is worth noting that no criminal charges were filed against the private investigators who conducted surveillance on the judge and other government officials. Further to... I mean, we're trying to catch you being hypocrites. It's not that deep. It's not that deep. They obviously just want to bully anybody who's trying to make them look like idiots for enforcing that bullshit mask stuff. Have you seen all this stuff with the monkeypox? People are like projecting. They're saying all the COVID hysteria is going to come back with some other disease. Do you guys think that's going to be real or what? Where are we? Further to a court appearance on Friday, October 27th, Mr. Carpe has entered into a civil peace bond order through which he has agreed not to practice law for 3 years, and by which Mr. Carpe has also agreed not to contact the Manitoba judge Glenn for 3 years. Mr. Carpe has never contacted this judge previously, apart from writing a letter of apology. Mr. Carpe is already an inactive, non-practicing lawyer and will continue to carry out his responsibilities with the Justice Center as he has been doing since 2010. Fundraising, media relations. Oh, this place has been around for a while, eh? Oh, wow. I just kind of assume a lot of these places just sprung up during COVID. Depriving a man of his liberty and the company of his family and friends, particularly during his short Christmas vacation, was extremely stressful for Mr. Carpe and his family. It appears that these charges were brought against Mr. Carpe for political reasons in an attempt to intimidate him. Upon his release from prison on December 31st, Mr. Carpe stated in a short video, "I am not going to be intimidated, and I'm going to keep on speaking out against all the violations of our rights and freedoms." Mr. Carpe has borne the costs of paying for his own legal defense, and no Justice Center funds have been expended in respect of this matter. Mr. Carpe is extremely grateful for the encouragement and for the financial assistance which he has personally received from citizens across Canada who have supported him during the past 9 months as he defended himself against these criminal charges. Interesting. Share this. Does Carpe have hold on. So he is the president of the JCCF. Got it. So he probably operates that Twitter account. Maybe. That's quite the experience to be a lawyer and to go through that. Does anybody know about this guy? Tactical timing. This is a tweet about his arrest. Oh, nice. I got a big following. John Carpe, I want to talk to you, man. Wow, he got to introduce Tucker Carlson? That's huge. John Carpe, C-63. Should I do the hyphen? Okay, no. Ooh, stop censorship in Canada with John Carpe from Veterans for Freedom. Oh, this is like a live stream. How long ago was this? Why isn't this loading? We are going to wrap it up soon. I'm going to play my F. Trudeau song probably in like 5 or so minutes. I just want to do a bit of more research on Mr. Carpe here. Oh, man, he's right on the money. Look at this. John Carpe with the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms says it'll put Canada into dangerous censorship. It'll put Canada into dangerous censorship. Okay. And the targets will likely be conservatives and Christians. Return to reason. Interesting. Watch this. Okay. All right. There he is. Talking about Bill C-63 3 months ago. We got to get him on. We got to get him on the channel. How do you get a hold of this guy? I guess we probably just email. We'll figure it out. That's awesome. That's awesome. Gonna bookmark this. Great stuff. Hey, thanks for hanging out, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Jeremy got to hang out, gave me all these big brain ideas. Wow, when I don't have a large coffee before a stream, I run out quicker. I gotta get the large for you guys so I can go longer. How long have we been going for? Oh, okay, yeah. Let's try to keep this under 3 hours. Oh yeah, I should have done this after the interview with Jeremy, but hey, we're trying to save free speech, okay? SaveFreeSpeech.ca. If you want to donate to the documentary, you go to givesendgo.com/SaveFreeSpeech. We're talking about the very despicable people behind Bill C-63. They say it's about protecting children, but it's really about persecuting Canadians they don't like. It's about political persecution. It's about tyranny. Yeah. Hey, Caveman donated $50. Trudeau and the rest of the he sucks off. Trudeau and the rest of them he sucks off. Trudeau and the rest of them he sucks off. Thank you, Greg. Love your courage to do the right thing. Sic semper tyrannis. Thank you so much, Caveman. Lee Galley with $100. This is incredible. I don't want to go to jail for talking about things I consider inhumane, unjust, criminal, or just retarded. There's a lot going on for everyone. Imagine not being able to talk about any of it. The thought of having my door kicked in and arrested for a Facebook post is beyond bizarre world. This is not a drill. Thanks for your work. So important. What a banger comment too. Thank you so much, Lee. That's a huge donation, and that's just a well-written script right there for exactly the urgency of stopping this bill. Well done. Thank you. Tyler Halliday with $50. Cheers, Greg. Kept my word. 2 days. Thanks for doing this. Thank you, Tyler. That's amazing. Thanks again to Donna for donating, Craig Bragg, and also Ryan Albright. This is good. The bigger this number gets, the better this documentary is going to be, the more amazing it's going to be, the more marketing we'll have behind it, the more people are going to hear about the dangers of Bill C-63 and why it's absolutely imperative that we stop it. Absolutely imperative. I don't care about Pierre Poilievre winning. That to me, that's totally irrelevant. If I could choose to have, this is going to sound crazy, but if I could choose to have Trudeau still in power and Bill C-63 not pass, I would totally choose that future as opposed to Pierre Poilievre ruling and Bill C-63 passing. That's you know what I mean? That's a no-brainer for me. That this piece of legislation is so much more important. But at the same time, I think that a sort of what's the word for it? A sort of like byproduct of focusing on this project, SaveFreeSpeech.ca, and stopping Bill C-63 is there's the demoralization of Canadians, and there's also this helplessness, similar to what they were saying in the Tyrant video, what Aristotle with a banger YouTube video. Imagine these like philosophers were still around with YouTube channels. Like, hey, I'm Aristotle, subscribe to my YouTube. But what Aristotle, he was cooking in that video, and he said something that tyrants want is citizens, estranged from political life, not to participate in political life. And that's a huge point to drive home. And I think a byproduct of SaveFreeSpeech.ca is going to be like, no, you can participate. Actually, we're going to arm you guys with videos, short videos that you can bother everybody with. And you're just going to be able to shove it in their face of how messed up this country is. And through all of that, something's going to happen. Through that pressure, through that sort of all the things that we're going to be putting into these videos, I think something's going to happen. You can do something. You can do something. We can do something. And I know that's basic to say, but I feel like people have just been so so demoralized to feel like they can't do shit. And to be fair, it's easy to feel that way. It's super easy to feel that way. But I guess like the added change of like, instead of going to a protest, the idea is taking a whole bunch of extra time to build a website, to make videos and content with a very specific intention and very specific goal of what the message is going to be that can reach a large group of people. But thanks again for those donations. Again, if you want to help out with our mission, givesendgo.com/SaveFreeSpeech. We also have a website, SaveFreeSpeech.ca, where you can already email your MP. We have a whole like system there. The website's going to be even better come September time. But yeah, it's what we're working on. It's what we're working on right now. All right, guys, I think I've been putting it off long enough. I think it's time for... See, the guitar's gone. Where is it? The guitar is here. It's in my hands. I'm going to sing and play for you the new song, the Fuck Trudeau song. I'm quite excited. It's probably going to be a little rough, a little rusty, because I've only played it a few times. I just finished writing it last night, but yeah, I'm just going to tune my guitar here. Talk amongst yourselves. Antasia Reeves says, all politicians are puppets. It barely matters who is in power. Legislation is what affects our daily lives and the future of our precious children. That's a really great point. Especially when they're part of these major political parties. Like, that is really the problem. It is these political parties. These big political parties are just so rotten and corrupt. They're who rule now. Like the idea of the parliamentary system of like, hey, I represent this riding. I represent those people. Like, that's your job. But really now it's, you're just going to vote along with the party, obviously. And like, fuck the people in your riding. All you have to do is kind of just like placate them and make it seem like that you're representing them. And to be fair, sometimes liberal politicians are really good at this. Liberal politicians will be in the riding. They will be at all the barbecues. They'll be at all the community events, and they're really charming and they're really nice people. And it's like, well, things must be great. And it's like, meanwhile, Justin Trudeau is passing Bill C-63. That's going to be the end of free speech in Canada. I was like, hey, you want another hot dog? It's quite despicable. But you are right, Antasia. The legislation is important, and it's hard because majority of people don't care about the legislation at all. They care about, oh, Justin Trudeau's attractive. He's going to make weed legal. Like, it's a simple bumper sticker, right? And that's why, it's my job, it's our job to try and simplify the legislation, communicate it, and make it a bumper sticker, turn it into a bumper sticker that people can get behind and want to, want to support. And that's how you campaign. That's how you that's how you apply pressure to these people. That's a strategy. Sounds like my kind of song. Yeah, well, we'll see. It's called Fuck Trudeau, but, it might not be what you expect. Hey, there you go. Hi. It's okay. I think it needs a little work, but it's not bad. I think it's got potential. I think the chorus can be really catchy, but that was like my third time singing it. I'm just gonna say what everybody know. It's real fucking lame to just say fuck Trudeau. Look yourself in the face and just be honest, bro. You gave up on this place a long time ago. Because, like, on one hand, like, I want to appeal to the people that say fuck Trudeau, obviously, but it's also like, you know, fuck us, man. You know, like, to think that, oh, it's all just Trudeau, just blame it on Trudeau, he's the problem. It's like, no, it goes a lot deeper than that, sir. Goes a lot deeper than that. I appreciate your flag, but goes a little deeper than that. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. End with a bang. Trying to end these streams with a bang, you know? Show you guys the real stuff. The good stuff. And you know what? I think what I'm going to do, like, because in my last stream, I kind of teased like one of the critical race theory jingle. And I actually, if you watch the replay, I removed it. So you can't see it. So you can only see this stuff when you're live. Because later on, I'm going to edit this live stream. I'm going to take it out. I'm going to take it out because only the people who see it live deserve to see it. Okay? That's going to be the little tidbits, the little gold nuggets at the end of the stream here. Because I do, you know, I'm focusing on the process right now of getting more output, doing more content, doing research when I'm live to involve you guys and everything. But, and I want to build on that. But I'm hoping to do the same thing next week, like a Tuesday night, Thursday night stream, evening. I don't want to do it too late, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for tuning into the stream. What a great stream. Had Jeremy on. We talked about tyranny. We talked about what's actually in this bill. Talked about some good strategy stuff. We sang the Fuck Trudeau song. Yeah. And I have a whole bunch of other songs on the back burner, but it's like, you know, I want to do the offensive songs that will get me arrested if Bill C-63 passes. You know, I want the stakes higher. The stakes aren't high enough for me. Because then if this bill does pass, it'll just be like the cartoon. It'll be like the cartoon where I'm just a fucking dust cloud. Vanished. Where did he go? Craig Bragg says, I like it. It would be improved with more instruments like horns. Rob Hellfire, I love the lyrics, especially the part about shopper citizens. Yeah. Yeah, that could really be its whole own thing. That's like, that probably doesn't only exist in Canada, but like I feel like it's such a thing here where people are so obsessed with their consumerism and it's become like almost like the larger. I'm thinking about like people in my personal life and like from back home where it's like their whole existence, their whole worship is leisure time, things they buy, vacation, going to nice restaurants. Like, notice how there's like no family. There's nothing to do with like family or honor or your nation or, you know, cultivating for some sort of legacy or like it's literally all consumerism. What did I list? Buying things, eating things, traveling places, and concerts. I mean, I can understand, like, concerts are a little bit more understandable, but because like that can be a fun experience, and obviously, you know, I like travel, like I like all of those things. I also buy things out, but you know, these people kind of consecrate it as a religion, it seems. Oh, well, we're gonna make things on Amazon cheaper. That's what we're going to do for you. Oh, yeah, you're right. We Edgy D TV in chat says we watched Who Wants to Be an Offensive Millionaire by Alex Woods as well. That's right. Love the video. Might also have to take that out when I edit the live stream well, I won't explain why, but if you know, you know. Yeah, guys, hey. Did I crack 3 hours yet? Oh shit, we're 4 minutes over. Damn it. Damn it. Antasia Reeve says, giving back to community, building things that will last. Yeah, exactly. Volunteering. Community is so dead. That's definitely not a just Canada thing, but community really is totally dead. And you know, I know Jeremy likes to shit on like the magic book stuff, but there was a really awesome thing, like, you know, and fair enough. Sometimes organized religions, sometimes the religious institutions in different like communities can be like awful and toxic. However, there's definitely a lot of positives to them as well, especially if they're good people who are actually like following their moral belief system properly. You know, having like a good church community or whatever can be like super, super grounding for people. It can be super, you know, all those things. And yeah, we don't really have we only have that. There isn't much of that. Yeah, and Antasia says this community is on fire and growing. Yeah, no, of course, shout outs to Diagolon. Find your friends. That was, I got invited, I'll never forget, I got invited to a potluck in the winter, in the middle of like being unvaccinated season made you like this like horrible, vile person. I got invited to this like Diagolon potluck and it was so nice. It was so amazing. Yeah, tyrants hate that. They hate that. We're trusting one another. We're identifying with one another. We are, you know, we're wanting to prioritize ourselves. But yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks again for watching. Love you guys so much. I'll plug this one last time. We're trying to save free speech in Canada. GiveSendGo.com/SaveFreeSpeech. Okay. We're making a documentary. There's already a website where you can email your MP. We have a pre-typed email for you. And yeah, we're going to be making really awesome videos that are educational, that are informative, that are entertaining. And you're going to be able to share them with people, your MPs, your neighbors, your moms, your sisters, your brothers, your friends, your church community, your local officials, and really push them and irritate them and be like, hey, why aren't you opposing this? Why is this even being proposed in a free country? Crazy. Thanks again for watching. If I stick to this schedule, then I'll be streaming next on Tuesday. You'll see me next on Tuesday. All right, later guys. Love you.